Yo, 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 what's going on, everyone? Welcome in to a DFS strategy video for the 2026 Arnold Palmer Invitational. My name is Eric, here with SweetSpot DFS to go over everything SweetSpot DFS. That means going over the golf course and tournament information, going over pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. I will be going over the bucket system as well as the Marquee Tee Times, just to narrow down our player pools. If you didn't know, I'm doing a Sunday live stream with Byron Lindeque, the Model Maniac, back 9 bets on Sunday nights. So that's where I'm doing the recap for the previous tournament, which last week was the Cognizant. So if you're looking for a recap, go check us out Sunday nights. I'm streaming. We're kind of dual streaming. So you can go to his channel. You can go to my channel. You can have both of our videos up, one muted and interacting with the other one. I try to talk to my chat whenever I possibly can. But the best way to go about that is going and commenting on his stream, because he can pull in everything on his side and post it up on the screen. He is kind of the host of that podcast. But either way, you can support us both. And another way you can support me, at least, is to subscribe, because I do have giveaways that require you to be subscribed. One is a weekly giveaway, one's a monthly giveaway, and we are running the monthly giveaway tonight, right? Just after I talk about how you can enter giveaways. Be subscribed, comment whenever possible on any of the videos that I post. If you comment for that week, you get credit. So if I post 3 videos in a week and you comment on all 3 videos, you get 3 entries into whatever giveaway I'm running. And of course, like I just said, I'm doing a weekly giveaway every week. It's $5 cash. I send it to you through PayPal, Venmo, Google Pay, however you need it, however you take it, I should say. I will send it to you. And then the first Tuesday of every month, I do a monthly giveaway. I give away a monthly subscription to SweetSpot DFS. If we reach the sub goal that you can see all the way over there to the left, we're really close. I just need 12 more subscribers and we will hit that goal. Once I hit that goal, what I'll add to the monthly giveaway is a t-shirt. Now, total, it's going to be $50 in value. So, you know, it's not nothing, and I pay for the shipping and everything. So I'm giving you some merch for free, and then obviously you get a subscription for free. And again, the way to participate is to comment whenever possible. Live streams, I will always try to incorporate some kind of roll call to give you additional ways to get entries into the giveaway. I ask you questions like, who's your favorite golfer this week? Who's going to win this week? Things like that. Super simple stuff. Just helps with the algorithm out. If you interact with my channel, I think it gets sent out to more people, and that way you're rewarding me. And another way I can reward you is, you know, put a little extra cash on top of it. So, with all that being said, I think what I'm going to end up doing in the future is create a video for giveaways and just say, if you want to check out giveaways, look at the description down below. And then that way you can check out how to participate. But anyways, let's go ahead. Let's run our weekly and our monthly giveaways. I had 14 total entries last week. We had 2 roll calls, and then the people who participated in the YouTube comments, there you go. I think Nathan Johnson tried to get one in, but that's too late, man. I saw it on my phone before I went live. I'm not going to add it. It's too late, dude. Too late. You got to comment on these before the Tuesday of the video that I'm about to go and stream. So, all right. With that being said, let's go ahead. Let's do this. Drum roll. John Bizzle. Congrats, man. I know you are banking all of these, so you get $5 added to whatever you're banking. Congrats, man. Roll call number 1. It only takes one. Only takes one. John, you won $5. You're gonna have to let me know. I know you're banking it, so I don't know where you're at. You'll have to let me know, and then we can figure something out from there. Congratulations, John. And now those 14 entries are added to the monthly giveaway, and we're gonna run the giveaway right now. Nathan Johnson. Nathan is already a winner. Nathan, I know this is, well, I shouldn't say already. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant to say. You're already a lifetime member. So it is a $20 giveaway, or it's a $20 value that I will just add to whatever you would like. I think you won it last month. Jeez. Just to show it's not rigged. It's not rigged. I did not rig this. It is completely random. So congratulations, Nathan. I don't even know where you're at right now when it comes to how much money you have won or that you're banking, but congrats. Just a reminder, this is a live stream. I have people in the chat that are participating, talking to me, like Ryan, Lombardi Lee, Joanne. What's going on, everyone? I will be talking between each of my segments. If you don't want to listen in on that, that's fine. That's your prerogative. There are timestamps down below when this goes on replay. During the live stream, obviously, there's no timestamps because I'm live, and you can't go forward in time for things I haven't said yet. But when this is on replay, timestamps, go check them out if you want to skip ahead. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I do the same thing. So those are available for you. Everyone's saying hello in the chat. Cool, cool, cool. All right, let's just jump right into it and go to the course and tournament information. All right, Arnold Palmer Invitational. Now, I don't think I'm going to do a Puerto Rico Open preview. Maybe. Depends on how much time we have. But as of right now, this is only Arnold Palmer. The golf course is the Bay Hill Club and Lodge. I kind of did this backwards. Let's look at the tournament first. Tournament information. These tools you can find at SweetSpotDFS.com, by the way. Under Fantasy Tools, this is called Tournament Stats. And unfortunately, you do have to be a member, a paying member, in order to see this. What I would say is go ahead, put in the tournament, which is obviously the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And we can see what an average winning score looks like, or the lowest winning score, all that good stuff. Before I get further into this, I just want to remind you guys also, there's a cheat sheet available and an optimizer. If you want to request the optimizer, go ahead and do it. Open up the page, and what will happen is a pop-up will come at you. You put your email address in here, and I will send you the optimizer as soon as I see the request. It requires my own eyeballs to see the request. There is no automation right now, so it might take a little while for me to send it to you, but yes, it will be available. Or if you put in your email address, I will get it, and then I will send you the optimizer. And then we'll look at the cheat sheet later. I will be using that quite a bit in this video. It's awesome. I've made a lot of updates to it, even since last week. So looking forward to showcasing those. But here at the tournament information, we're looking at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Now, I apologize. I did not update the strength of field for this tournament page. However, on the cheat sheet, this is what it looks like. We do have 72 golfers in the field. The strength of field is 757. So it's a pretty good strength of field. And when we look at the tournament stats, if we just look at last year and the year before, which these were the only, 2024 is when it started to become a signature event. If I were to actually remove these years, you can see it was a regular field event. Now, regular as in over 100 golfers, around 120 plus, but it was an invite, which means you had to be invited if you were going to play in the tournament, and that had its own requirements. So you can almost think of it as like a signature field. Before, invitationals are exclusive to those that are invited. You can't qualify for it like an open, like any of the tournaments that have opens or even sometimes classics. You had to be invited to the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Anyways, 2024 is when it started to become a signature event. That is exactly what we have this week, is a signature event yet again. For all your one and done people out there, this is where first place prize pays out like 3.6 plus, like 3.6 million and up. It might even be 4 million right now. So if you wanted to use your Scotty Schefflers, your Rory McIlroys, these are the times to do it. Now, next week is the Players, just throwing that out there. That is going to be the biggest purse, period. The Players always, that's what's good about the Players. It is the biggest purse, the biggest first place prize when it comes to money. It pays out more than major championships. It pays out more than any of the other signature field events. So if you wanted to save Scotty like I'm going to do, for the players, by all means do so. But this is also a good week to play Scotty. You're going to get a lot of money if he does place first. And we'll get more into Scotty. Obviously, we're going to have to when it comes to salaries and all that good stuff, lineup construction, because there's obviously another conversation to have with Scotty Scheffler. But anyways, signature event 2024, 2025, and this year. Field size is 72 this week. We obviously went through that. And you can see when it became a signature event, you know, -11, -15. There is a cut, by the way. There is a cut. One of those easy reminders is if there's a person that's hosting the tournament, that means there will be a cut. Now, obviously, Arnold Palmer is no longer with us. He can't host the event, but this tournament is named after him, so therefore the cut rules apply all the same. There is a host. It is his grandson, Sam Saunders, or whoever is representing Arnold Palmer's foundation. But anyways, there is a cut. 72 golfers in the field, 36-hole cut. I can't remember if it's top 50 in ties like it was at the Genesis, plus any golfers that are within 10 strokes of the lead. That's kind of how, I mean, those were old master rules, like for the Masters, I should say, the Masters tournament. I imagine that's what it is. I feel like that's true because top 65 in ties kind of sounds kind of goofy when there are 72 golfers in. Like, does that mean 7 golfers are going to get cut? Probably not. So I apologize for not having that information. I imagine someone in chat will help me out with that. I do think it is top 50 in ties and then golfers within 10 strokes of the leader. So you can take all of that information. The whole point of going over the course and tournament information is to give you data points to use while researching which golfers to play. So what a lot of people fail to do, and maybe it's assumed that you guys listening that that's what it's going towards. Sometimes I think people like to show off a bit of all the information they know. What are you going to do with the information? Do you even know what to do with it? These are data points. And on my website, the things that I talk about during the golf course and tournament information segment can be applied in any of the filters that I have. So just using this page here and this page alone, but any of my other tools, you will see the buttons over here on the left side. These are all filters. There's a grass stats filter. When you open that up, you will see all of the grass types. Now, obviously, I have it under Arnold Palmer Invitational. So if you open that up and you look at all the grass stats, you will see all of them that are there. And if you just drill down, that will change the tournaments that show up. You will be able to see which golf courses show up for those types of grasses. Maybe not for this page. I can't remember what I have under this page. Yeah, it's not. Okay. But if I were to go to say this stat right here, or this one, if I were to change, you know, Cognizant is Bermuda. If I were to change it to bent grass, let's do fairways. Let's do the greens. Bent grass greens. Now the Cognizant doesn't show up because the Cognizant doesn't have bent grass greens. All of these filters are in here. And for the tournament stats, it's the little podium up here. So everything I just talked about, right? It's a signature event. You can go ahead and put the signature filter in there and it will sort out filter out every tournament that isn't a signature event. You want to look at other things like field size. We can change the field size down to 80. And so that will also remove other tournaments that don't have or that have more than 80 golfers in the field. So again, all of these filters are available for you. All of the things I'm talking about when it comes to the tournament and the golf course can be found on the filters on my website. And what that just helps you do is narrow down which golfers are good at those particular data points. You're trying to find the best golfers to put in your lineup. Why wouldn't you filter out by what this tournament is? So, average winning score is 16 under. Oh, whoa. No. Forgot to put the Arnold Palmer in here. Average winning score is 12 under par. Average cut score is 2 over par. Now, if we just want to look at the last 2 years where it was a signature event, I mean, the average cut score actually gets worse. It is 3.5. Winning score is 13 under. So with a limited field It should be easier to get 6 of 6 through, 6 of 6 or 6 golfers in your lineup through. And I imagine we should all be building some pretty good lineups. If it is golfers within 10 strokes of the lead that make the cut, we can almost see all of our golfers making the cut. The strength of field, like I said, it's 757 this week. You can see last year it was 762, and the year before that was 741. So we're right in line with all of that. If you want to take the last 2 years as gospel, I guess I don't really have an issue with it. It's a lot of the same that you're going to see. It's the same caliber of golfers. The same elite golfers are in the field, and they tend to do well at this golf course. I'm talking about Scotty and Rory. And then obviously there are all the other golfers that are very playable this week. So that's it for the tournament information. I don't really need to provide any more. All you really need to get from the tournament is how many golfers are in the field, what type of event this is, what type of tournament this is, the golf course being played, your average strength of field, all of that stuff. And again, those are all data points you can use when researching for which golfers you want to play this week. Now, when it comes to the golf course, Bay Hill Club and Lodge, if you go to SweetSpotDFS.com and go down to the golf course stats, you want to make sure that the tournament says Arnold Palmer Invitational, and then the golf course you're selecting is the Bay Hill Club and Lodge. I have it under 2026, so this is what the golfers should be seeing mostly. Now, I do have this golf course as overseeded. I'm just going to confirm with that. I made that update a while ago. I don't know if that is yeah, it is true. There it is. Yep. I'm looking at it right now. The information I have is backed by the GCSAA.org. That is the the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America. They set up the golf course, send it to the PGA Tour, and then the PGA Tour provides those conditions to the golfers. So it is overseeded with ryegrass, but we can still use the greens. Actually, this section down here that says overseed grass, if this is a Y and not an N for no, this is a Y for yes, all the grass underneath is what you can expect the golfers to be playing on. So it's ryegrass tees, ryegrass fairways, ryegrass rough, but still Tiff Eagle Bermuda greens. Very similar to the Cognizant Classic. Tiff Eagle Bermuda is a hardier Bermuda. It can actually withstand colder temperatures, and that's why they use them in the southern golf courses on the greens. The Bermuda that they typically play is Celebration Bermuda. It's just, you guys don't need to actually really, you don't have to care about the strains of grass, to be quite honest. It's not that big of a deal. It really isn't that big of a deal, like what the base layer is. The things that you got to care about, it's ryegrass all the way through until the greens. So again, those are data points you can use as filters on my website. Use it to your advantage. This is a pretty long golf course, 7,400 yards, almost 75, par 72. 4 par 5s. This is where all the golfers, like your winners, usually play really well in the par 5s. If you wanted to look at par 5 scoring, go for it. You won't find it on my website right now. I don't have anything for par 5 scoring. I'm going to use course history mostly. Course history and the bucket system, obviously. But anyways, if you want to look at how this golf course is mapped out, I provide the preferred shot shapes off the tee and on approach. Do with that as you will. If you really care about it, personally, I feel like there are benefits for certain golfers hitting these shot shapes on certain holes. Like I have in the disclaimer here, they're not necessary. They just offer the best scoring opportunities. And you can kind of see a little summary over here on the right side, off the tee shot shapes, approach shot shapes. What you can do with that is I have a cheat sheet available. And on that cheat sheet, if you go under fantasy tools at SweetSpotDFS.com, scroll down or hover down to cheat sheet, you click on that. This is what you'll see. This is what will pop out right away. But if you scroll down on the page, you will see this cheat sheet down here, which is surprising that it doesn't have my Google Sheet. Uh-oh, did it freeze on me? It might have froze on me. If I click here, what will open up is a Google Sheet. This Google sheet is the old school way that I used to do it. And kind of what I'm going to show you when it comes to the bucket system and everything going forward, or I should say just with the bucket system segment of this video, I have my own cheat sheet, but you guys can follow along on this cheat sheet. The reason I bring this up is because for most of the golfers here, I actually have the shot shapes that they hit most of the time. Most of the time. Most of these golfers know how to hit it both directions. If you're a good golfer, you know how to shape it both directions. The big caveat to that is golfers tend to only hit it one type of shape. That offers the most consistency. Plus, it's also what they're just used to. If you try shaping shots both directions during a round of golf, you got to be like really good in order to control both types of shots because they fly differently. You're not going to hit a fade as far as you can hit a draw. Like some of these golfers hit fades really long distances, but a draw will just, the draw has more potential to go further. Let's just put it that way. So what you can do with the shot shape information I have is come back to the golf course stats and just look, okay, so off the tee doesn't really matter. There's 11 holes off the tee where you could hit any shot shape, but it looks like there's 2 draws, 1 fade. And on approach, 12 holes don't really require any type of shot shape, but there are 4 where a draw would be more beneficial versus 2 of where a fade would be beneficial. And one thing to also mention, every tournament has 4 different hole locations. Most of the time, it's not in the middle of the green. It will be back left, back right, front left, and front right. Now, if you think about it, if a hole location's back right or front right, chances are hitting a draw into those hole locations, very difficult to do. It's not to say you can't hit the green. It's not to say you can't have a birdie putt, but you aren't going to be as close as someone hitting a fade. Most of the time, you won't be. So that's how you can also look at it. And the PGA Tour provides hole locations before each round of golf the night before. If you are following the PGA Tour communications on X/Twitter, they provide those. So if you're doing showdown stuff, it's worth looking at the hole locations, because it will really tell you how many golfers are good with fades, or how many hole locations will require a draw or will require a fade, or maybe neither. And again, you can come to the cheat sheet and look at the golfers with their fades and their draws. So this is free, by the way. The cheat sheet is free. All you have to do is go to my website, SweetSpotDFS.com. There's a link for it in the description down below. Go to the cheat sheet drop down, click on that, and scroll down the page till you find click here. Click there, and that will open up that cheat sheet for you. So just some things you can use to narrow down your player pools. That is the whole purpose of all of this, just to narrow down your player pools. And with that being said, I don't really have anything else to add to it. Come here, look at all the data points. Again, each of these data points you can use as filters on my website. That's why I provide them. It's not for nothing, you know. So take advantage of it. Sign up, SweetSpotDFS.com. Become a member. All right. I'm going to check in with chat before I move on to pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. Joanne said just got back from a road trip south of the border from Florida. All right, Joanne. Got a new puppy, a Cocker Spaniel. Cute. Very cute. Ryan goes, my lineups are going to be the best. The best. I'm owed a winner take all this week. Ooh, that's dangerous speak, man. You don't want to be talking like that. The karma gods do not love that. The only grass I care about is puff puff pass type rather than just eat a gummy. But rather just eat a gummy. Okay. All right, Ryan. All right, moving on. Pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. I've got 2 tools that you guys can use: historical salary builds as well as pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. Again, you can find this at SweetSpotDFS.com. I'm going to pull up the cheat sheet really quick. This is where we can look at salaries. So the first thing to mention, Scotty Scheffler is $14,100. We've seen this before all year. Every tournament he has played, he has been over $14,000. Every week that he's in a tournament, there is a discussion to be had. Do we play Scotty at $14,100? And the real easy answer to that is, really, how many good golfers are in the 6K range or the 7K range? Because if I pull up the optimizer, which again, you guys can go request this at SweetSpotDFS.com, and I lock in Scotty Scheffler, just watch the most optimal lineup that appears. It goes 14-1 Scheffler. I'm actually surprised it goes $8,100 Shane Lowry, but that is the next priced golfer. Between Scotty and Shane Lowry, there are 18 golfers that you just pass up on. And like, look at the lineup structure. It's 14-1, 8,100, 76, 72, 69, 61. Andrew Novak's not a bad play, but if I were to run this again, he's just going to get kicked out. Now look at the lineup. It goes 14-1 to 76, another 76, 72, 71, 64. So the real conversation is, if you play Scotty Scheffler, are you cool with basically the rest of your lineup being nothing but 7K and 6K golfers? Or would you rather play a more traditional lineup, which might start with, say, Rory McIlroy or anybody in the 10K range? I'll let the optimizer just run. Would you much rather have like Rory at 11.6 to go along with someone like 2 golfers in the 8K range, 2 golfers in the 7K range, and I should say 3 golfers in the 7K. So this is a 10.88, 7.76. I'm going to force it to choose one 9K golfer, and let's see if it chooses Rory or Tommy or Xander. Let's see what happens. It goes with Tommy. So here's a more traditional lineup build. Tommy Fleetwood, Robert McIntyre, Shane Lowry, Bridgman, Cootie, and JJ Spawn. I'll run it again just to see what else we get. 10.98, 7.76, and that's kind of the jingle of this channel. This is a traditional lineup build going 10.98, 7.76. It's funny that Justin Thomas is being selected as much as he is. Let me run one more. I just want to see just something different. I mean, this is a 10.9, 8.8, 7.6. Sixes, you don't have to be afraid of the sixes. I think you're going to win a GPP by playing a 6K golfer this week. You don't have to, but I think it's probably the best way to do it. But the conversation, the reason I'm kind of covering this is, are you comfortable playing Scotty Scheffler 14,100 with, say, 3 7Ks and 2 6Ks? Or would you much rather build a traditional lineup build that goes 10.98, 7.76, 10.98, 7.77, those types of things? That's the first question you need to ask yourself. I don't think it's super smart to go 10, maybe, or going with a Scotty Scheffler into a 9K golfer and then doing 4 6Ks. That's not the way to build lineups. You rarely are going to have success doing something like that. And I have the data to prove it. So, I mean, let's take a look. We can go to historic salary builds. I keep track of 3 different lineups. The GPP winning lineup, which is normally the $5 Drive the Green contest. It's the biggest GPP, the biggest tournament you can play being a DFS player. I also keep track of the optimal lineup. And then I keep track of something called the SweetSpot Optimal, which is the best lineup that uses $49,600 of the salary and up. Now, there are some nuances to that. If the best lineup that's 49.6 and above is the optimal lineup, I then choose the second best lineup. That is then the SweetSpot Optimal. I'm trying to give you guys some variety as to how to build lineups that could take down GPPs. The GPP is static. That's just the bet. That's the winner. That's the winner of the week. So yeah. And then sometimes the SweetSpot Optimal might not be a lineup that's 49.6 and above. That's because there's no lineup even within a stone's throw of that. Like, sometimes it's the alternate events where if you wanted to build a lineup that's 49.6 and above, like it ends up being the GPP winning lineup, or it's a lineup that's just really ugly, or that's just not possible. Like that, sometimes that's the case. There was one time I think at Kraus Punta Cana where the best lineup that's 49.6 and above, or no. You couldn't even find one. All of the top end golfers missed the cut. So the closest lineup you could have built was 49,200 or something like that. So sometimes that's the Sweet Spot Optimal. Just throwing that out there, because if you do use this tool and you drill down in Sweet Spot Optimal, you're going to find that. If I go to salary use, let's see. Looks like I've got a $47,600. That's a Sweet Spot Optimal. And that's probably because that's the closest lineup that I could find. There are a few. There are a few, and maybe there's some that I need to revisit and see if I can actually build one. But also part of the rules that come with the Sweet Spot Optimal is I'm trying to build a lineup that takes down a GPP. So if a GPP is really good and there was like no possibility of actually of beating the GPP that uses $49,600 of the salary and above, then I have to create one. So just throwing that out there. There is some nuance to the Sweet Spot Optimal, but far and away, the majority of the Sweet Spot Optimals are $49,600 of the salary and above. That was a long-winded way of explaining just about nothing. So I appreciate you guys sticking around and listening to all that stuff. Okay. So what do I do? What do I do on this page? The first thing that I really look at is I just plug in the tournament that is being played. So Arnold Palmer Invitational. If I do that, I'm going to get all of the lineup builds that have been successful at this tournament. So over here on the right side, this is kind of a summary of all the lineup builds. The most common successful lineup, I shouldn't say the most common, the most successful lineup, there are two of them, 10-8-8-7-7-6, 10-9-8-7-7-6, 8 total records out of 24. So that's 33%. 33% of your lineups start with a 10K. They have the following salaries in their lineup construction. They both have a 10K, an 8K, 2 7s, and a 6. So if we were to go ahead and put that into the optimizer, by the way, you can manipulate this however you want. So I can put a 10K golfer in there. We'll take out the 9K. We'll put at least one 8K, 2 7Ks, and a 6K. And we'll let it determine, does it pick 2 8Ks or does it choose one 9K? And then you just hit run optimizer. And we get a pretty good lineup. It's McIlroy, Henley, Lowry, Cootie, Gerard, and Andrew Novak. That's a really good lineup. That's a 10-9-8-7-7-6. Let's see if we run it again. Now we get a 10-8-8-7-7-6. So again, all I told the optimizer to do was make sure we play a 10K, an 8K, 2 7Ks, and a 6K. That's it. Five salary structures, and then it's random. It gives you the most optimal lineup following all of the bucket constraints. So this is how we narrow down player pools and how we build solid lineups. Now, the third most common lineup build is a 10-9-8-7-6-6. So they all have a 10K, they all have an 8K, they all have a 7K, and they all have a 6K. Does it have 2 6s? Does it only have 1 6? If it has 1 6, does it have 2 8Ks, or does it only have 1? Or does it have a 9K? So all of that, I mean, that's all really valuable information, how to build lineups this week. Now, there are other filters that you can use. Like, first of all, if I scroll down here and we just look at salary used, we're going to see some of these lineups, like the optimal lineup, because this is pretty common with optimal lineups, leaving a lot of money on the table. So I don't want to leave a lot of money on the table. I want to filter out lineups that leave essentially a lot of money on the table. So what I can do is come down to the salary used and just go 49.6. 49.6 and above. And now it filters out all of the difficult lineups to build. Let's put it that way. That's putting it mildly. I could actually say much worse things about leaving a lot of money on the table, but these are the most realistic lineups that you can get to. Remember, there were 24 total lineups that I had for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. When I put that salary used filter on, that filters out 8. Filters out 8 lineups. So now I only have 16 out of the 24. And the most common lineup is a 10-8-8-7-7-6, 10-9-8-7-7-6, 10-9-8-7-6-6. And then it's just a range of other things. So right away, if you are building lineups for this contest, this might be the best way to look into it is, how do I even start building my lineups? Think about the structure before you think about the golfers. I don't have an issue with that. I think that's a smart way to do it. There's additional information in here like total own percentage. So if you're one of those that looks at projected ownership and you're like, you know what, I kind of want to stay away from lineups that are going to have a lot of ownership tied to it, you can go and check what a lot of the lineups that have done well in the past. You can see what their total ownership numbers are. And if you just really wanted to look at GPP winners, there you go. Just filter out the GPPs and you can see that lands somewhere between 50% total owned to 65. It's a cumulative ownership. So it's you adding up the ownership of each of the golfers. Now, the biggest thing to mention in all of this, again, if I go back to the tournament stats, the last 2 years, and also including this year, so this year plus the 2 years prior, has been a signature event with a limited field. That's a big deal. Having 70 golfers as opposed to 120, like we're missing 50 golfers, that changes lineup construction completely. Now, here's kind of an issue. If I actually keep Arnold Palmer Invitational in here and we look at all of the lineups, but I only look at 2025 and 2024, we're going to get a limited amount of lineups. And remember, I still have another filter on here, the salary used. I can go ahead and remove that. And now we can take a look at all of the lineups. And we can kind of see how those lineups were built. You can look over here. The most common is a 10, 2 8s, 2 7s, and a 6, followed by a 10, 3 8s, a 7, and a 6. There's even a lineup that has 5 8K golfers. That was your GPP winner last year. 5 8K golfers. I'm not someone who really cares to pepper the 8K range, as Chad Eckert once used to say. I don't care for that. I actually kind of loathe the 8K range, but there is one thing that I can't hide. There are multiple 8K golfers in each of the last 2 years, like lineup builds. All 6 of the lineups that I have, like count them. There's 6. 3 lineups per year, 2 years this has been a signature event. And in each of those lineups, there's been at least 2 8K golfers in those lineups, at least 2. Remember, it's the GPP winning lineup, which is the one that takes down the $50,000, $100,000. It's the optimal lineup, which is the best lineup you can build. And then the sweet spot optimal, which is the best lineup you can build 49.6 and above using $49,600 of the salary and above. That's how I should actually word that, so you guys don't get too confused by it. And if it ends up being the optimal, then I choose the next best lineup. So that's something worth being said. 2 8K golfers. 2. At least 2. That's, obviously trying to get perfect. Now, last year and the year before, if we go ahead and use this other tool I have called Pass Optimal and GPP Winning Lineups, this kind of itemizes each of those lineups. So if we plug in the Arnold Palmer Invitational and we look at last year's GPP winning lineup, you gotta go ahead and click in those buttons. Here you go. It shows you the 6 golfers. These are this is 5 of the 8K golfers and 1 7K golfer. Russell Henley was $8,800. This lineup scored 573 points, by the way. If I pull up the Sweet Spot Optimal, so it goes from 573 GPP winner to 581.5 for the Sweet Spot Optimal. Now, the Sweet Spot Optimal had a 9K golfer in it. That was Colin Morikawa, $9,800. Then it had 3 8K golfers. If I remove all of that and we just sort by salary top to bottom, Scottie Scheffler was $12,000 last year and finished 11th. 12,000. He's 14,100 this year. Look at Rory McIlroy. He was 10,800 last year. This year, he's 11,600. So it's just a incremental, just a little increase in his salary. But it's very much more doable playing Rory McIlroy this year than it is to play Scottie this year. Like when you compare the two, it's nuts. Xander, by the way, $10,000 golfer yet again. Now, you can take information from this however you want. Scottie at 12,000 last year, he was 42% owned. 42% owned. People were, yeah, I mean, for good reason, by the way. People were expecting him to turn it around because he had a very hot 2024. Came into 2025 with a hand injury, but had just played pretty decently at both the Genesis and well, I guess the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. He did play well there as well. He played with, yeah, whatever. So people were expecting that. Now, in 2024, he won the event at $11,300. And he scored just a ridiculous amount of points, 122.5. If he would have been in second place, I don't even remember how much he won by. I think he won by quite a bit. Yeah, actually, I think he did win by quite a bit. I don't know if I'm going to find... I can find it here, I believe. I just put in Arnold Palmer. We take a look at 2024. He shot 15 under. Wyndham Clark was the only one in double digits. He shot 10 under. So yeah, he won by quite a bit. Now, he outperformed Wyndham by 12.5 points. If he doesn't place first, that is Scottie Scheffler, he would tie Wyndham, but either way, look at the rest of the leaderboard. You can build a 10K golfer, or you could build a lineup with Scottie Scheffler with the rest of the golfers that scored the most amount of DraftKings points. You would have taken down a GPP. Again, you can kind of like flick between the buttons here and see, okay, for GPP winner, in 2024, they scored 562 points. So I remove that. And one of the things I love best about this tool, again, this is the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups. You can actually drill down on golfers. And then if you hold the control button, hold it down. So I'm holding it down right now. And you left click, you can actually select additional golfers. And if you look at the information right here, it's going to update when I select certain golfers. So let's go ahead and put Henley in that lineup. I'll put Brennan Todd at 6,400. How about Putnam at 63 and Benny Ann at 76? The reason I did this is I'm trying to build myself a $14,000 Scottie Scheffler lineup. In 2024, he was 11,300. Let's up his price tag $3,000. He's 14-1, by the way, so I need to up it by 2,800. If I up this by 2,800, I get $49,900 of the salary. This scores 533.5 points. If I just select Scottie, deselect him, remember 533 points. Okay, so I guess I can't. I see. Okay. See, what I like to do is mess around and try to build a lineup that scores over 562. I just had forgotten in my head what the GPP winning lineup is. 562. So it looks like I'm going to have to do something with Clark as well as Lowry because I see why. They scored over 10 more points than anyone else. So it has to be these three golfers no matter what. But let's go ahead and put a 6K, and can I put another 6K golfer in there? That's, oh, no, I don't even need to do that. Whoa, I do actually, because I'm adding $3,000 basically to the salary. So this would be 49.9. It's 10 points behind the GPP winner. Is there a way we can do better? I don't think there is. So this, if the lineups, if all things were the same except for Scottie Scheffler or Scottie Scheffler's price tag goes up by $3,000, The best lineup, and this is him winning by 5 strokes, by the way. Best lineup I could have built is 10 points behind. Here, I'm going to sort by DK points. Maybe this will help me build a lineup. But it was 10 points behind the GPP winner, by the way. Oh yeah, no, I don't think I can. 553.5. That's the closest so far. And I don't think I'm going to be able to build anything better than that. Again, this is a tool called Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups. I'm holding the control button and I'm left clicking these golfers' names to update the salary that's up here on the top right, as well as the points and the total ownership. I'm trying to build myself a Scottie Scheffler lineup. If this $11,300 price tag was instead $14,100, so I have to add $2,800 to this. And I guess I do have a little bit of wiggle room, actually, because that would be $9,400. So I could upgrade. I don't know how much. So $600. So I can go to $7,500. Yeah, I can't really do anything. It won't change anything. It really won't. Let's see, can I do something like this to that? Maybe this to this? No, I'm over. Yeah, I can't. There's just no possible way I can build a lineup. And that's 2024. It's very narrow with my research right now, is looking at a lineup like this. Now, here's what we can do, though. Do we want to find a successful Scottie Scheffler lineup for this week? What we would do is we would go into the filters over here, and instead of putting a tournament name into select tournament, we go ahead under the bullseye. We can go to our highest price golfer. Now, again, I keep track of 3 lineups per tournament per year. And this highest price golfer needs to be in these lineups. It's not going to tell me every time that Scottie Scheffler has been $14,000. It's going to tell me every time that Scottie Scheffler has been $14,000 and has been in one of these lineups. So really what I'm going to do is go 13,800. So 13,800. I'm going to put that in the lowest section of the in-between filter there. And then I'm going to close it down. And what I want to do is I want to select all tournaments except for the Tour Championship. And if you guys know why, it's because they had the starting strokes, and my data includes those lineups that had Scottie Scheffler at like $15,900 or whatever price tag he was, or any other golfer that was over that price. I don't want to look at it. I just want to look at what are the most successful lineups over the last, technically over the last 3 years, last 2 years, really? What are the most successful lineups that use $14,000 of the salary and above? This is how you would do it. Because I want to see what the salary structures look like. And the most common salary structure is a 10-8, 2 7s, and 2 6s. So remember when we were building lineups a little bit earlier in the segment, and I anchored down on Scottie Scheffler? I'm going to remove some of these no's because that first lineup did have Andrew Novak way at the bottom. It goes 10-8, 7-7, 6-6. If we look at the most successful lineup that uses a $14,000 golfer and above, it is a 10-8, 7-7, 6-6. Followed by, there's 4 other different lineups. You guys can kind of put all that together. 10, 3 7s, 2 6s, a 10, 2 8s, a 7 and a 6, or 2 6s. Let's see what something like that would be, what that would look like. This was the Open Championship last year. I think there was a 5K range. That's a whole thing we can get into. But anyways, let's look at the lineup, or let's try to build a lineup that uses 2 8K golfers in it. A 10, 2 8s. I'm just going to lock in a 10 and 2 8s, 1 7 and 1 6. And let's just see what can we build. I mean, if Byron's in the chat, I don't know. Is Byron in the chat? I don't see Byron in the chat. We were talking about this. Andrew Putnam. Could you go down and play Andrew Putnam? Even Andrew Novak, by the way. Those min-priced 6K golfers. This lineup is actually good. The only thing I really don't care for is JJ Spawn. I really don't care for JJ Spawn. I also don't really care for Ricky Fowler in this lineup, but I don't mind Shane Lowry. I think there's a redemption arc for Shane Lowry. I'm actually going to kick out Ricky Fowler and have the opportunity to bring in Sam Burns, because I know my guy Shot Like Harden is looking, or is going to be watching this video and wants himself some Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns lineup. So let's see, what is this? I get it. Oh, it goes with Kurt Kitayama. This lineup isn't actually half bad. Scheffler, Kitayama, Burns, Stevens, Fox, and Putnam. Don't hate it. Do not hate it whatsoever. I do want to kick out Kitayama because I kind of want a Shane Lowry and Sam Burns connection. There we go. There we go. We got it. Scheffler, Lowry, Burns, Gerard, Patrick Rogers, Andrew Novak. Now this follows the bucket system. This follows the sweet spot process to the letter. To the letter. It's a good lineup. I like it quite a bit. But that is another lineup build. So again, it's just like your theory crafting. If I'm playing Scotty Scheffler, what kind of structure should I build? And this is just historic data. So the more historic data we get, the more confident your selections will be in choosing whatever your strategy is. Like, is it even worthwhile to shove in a 9K golfer? Well, again, I record 3 lineups per event per year. And of all the data I have, whenever there's a successful lineup that uses a $14,000 golfer, it looks like I have 2 instances where it could work out. Putting a 9K golfer. So a 10-9, 2 7s and 2 6s, and a 10-9 and 4 7s. Is that even possible this week? Let's try it out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the 8Ks. Let's go ahead and put in at least one 9K. And I'm going to change the 6s to 0. And I'm going to see what I can do here. I want to see what shows up. I'm going to bring back Patrick Rogers. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's see what this lineup could be. So it goes, oh my God, the bare minimum basically. So I get a Scotty Scheffler, Bobby Mack, Pearson Cootie, Ryan Gerard, Andrew Novak, Andrew Putnam lineup. Don't hate that at all, actually. That is a min 9K golfer. Now, if you're wondering, these 10-9, 10 and a 9K, what lineup does this belong to? It's the Open Championship. It was the Sweet Spot Optimal in 2025. Well, what golfers were those? We can go ahead, 2025, put in the Open. We look at the Open Championship, and we put in the Sweet Spot Optimal. That's the one we want to look at. And you're going to see there are 5K ranges in here. Now, I made a price conversion when I put these in. I don't know if I'm going to change this at any point in time. Adding a 7th price range, so like the 5K. If I were to add a 7th price range to the whole bucket system, it makes things really awkward. So I always have a high. I don't even know how to name it, but it's a high, low tier salary, and then there's a low tier salary, or a high 6K range and a low 6K range. The low 6K range would always have the 5K golfers in it, and then the high 6K range would always have the other 6Ks. Some of these actually I would include as 7K golfers. And the one way to actually kind of look at this, remember I highlighted this. So this is a 10, 9, 2 7s, and 2 6s. That's how I'm looking at this type of lineup. Here you see a 14, 2, 9, 7, 6, 9, 6, 7, 6, 4, 5, 7. The 6, 9, and 6, 7, those are 7K golfers when you do the price conversion. If you kind of want to see what the price conversion looks like, I do have it on the cheat sheet. This is what it would look like. This is how it looks like. You can see what the salary is for those golfers that came in. I don't even remember if this was the actual the Open Championship. This might have been the Open Championship actually. Scotty was 14.2. Xander was 9,700. Do I actually have this up? There we go. I have it. Whatever I'm looking at on the Pass Optimal and GPP lineup page, you can see here in the price conversion. So what I have, how I did this, and this is because we had never seen a golfer in the 14K range before. And DraftKings was kind of messing around with this. They're like, well, if we're going to add a $14,000 golfer, we need to add a 5K range. You can see all the 5K price tags right here. Because, you know, we want people to be happy and build out lineups. Well, now they just got rid of the 5K range and they put Scotty at 14,000, which is exactly where he should be anyways. But you have to make that conversion because it just doesn't make sense any other way, because price tags on golfers are like power rankings. So does it really matter what their price is? I mean, obviously it is when it comes to lineup building, but Sam Burns at 7,400 versus 7,900. Are we really fighting that? Like Sam Burns at 74 seems like a steal of a price, right? Some of these golfers actually just seem like a steal of a price. And so I created this price conversion to help us better understand what these price tags really kind of represent. You know, instead of their, you know, this golfer down here being 5,600, we're actually, he typically would have been 6,400 if all things were equal and DraftKings wasn't being stupid with their lineup building or their lineup or their salary construction. So anyways, that's a long-winded way to explain how you see a 10-9, 2-7s, and 2-6s on this page. And then when you go to the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups, and you're like, well, hold on, you said there's 2 7s. I see 3 6s and a 5. Like, that makes no sense. No. So there's a price conversion that goes along with it. Personally, I'm still looking at this as a 10-9, 2 7s, and 2 6s. That's how I'm looking at it. These 7s would be low 7Ks. Like Chris Goddard up 6,900. Let's take a look. What did I have him as a price conversion actually? 6,900 would be 7,400. Oh, I guess I have him at 73, but 73, 74, something like that. So when you go to build lineups, you know, 7,600, we could almost call that like a low 7K, almost like a 60. Well, it would be a low 7K if we had a 5K range. I know that might be a bit confusing to some people, but these lineups are very similar. That's all I'm trying to get at. These lineups are extremely similar to what we would have seen at the Open Championship last year. So that's how you can do the 1-for-1. That's the whole purpose of this is we're comparing previous years, you know, 10-9, 2-7s, 2-6s at the Open. But if you look at the actual price tags, you're going to get confused. I'm still considering that a 10-9, 2-7s, 2-6s. And it just happens to be I still have the price conversion on the cheat sheet. Again, access the cheat sheet. You go here under Fantasy Tools cheat sheet, and then you scroll down on this page until you find this cheat sheet, and you click there. That's how you'll find those price conversion tools that I have there. That's, you really don't need to. I just was bringing it up, and I got caught. I got caught talking about a lineup that does not look like it has 2 7K golfers in it. It does not look like it has 2 6Ks. It looks like it has 3 6Ks and 1 5K. So I needed to explain myself. Had to explain myself. So anyways, a 10, 9, 2 7s, 2 6s. That's kind of what you get here. It looks like Bobby Mack is the easy way to build a lineup. Well, what if we kick out Bobby Mack and we kick out Putnam? What else do we get? We get Matsuyama, Harry Hall, and actually we get 3 6Ks. I think that's because you can't build anything else. But what if I put the 2 7Ks down? Isn't this one of the lineups? A 10, 9, 3 7s, and a 6? Oh no, it's a 10, 9, and 4 7s. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and put in 2 7Ks. Make sure it selects me 2 7Ks. There you go. 71 and a $7,000 golfer to go with Hideki Matsuyama. I don't really care for Hideki Matsuyama this week, so this is not going to be a lineup you're going to see me build. Honestly, I'm going to kick out Matsuyama. I'm going to open up some of these 6Ks down here. Try it again. See what else we can get. Ooh. I like this lineup minus JJ Spawn. Let's try it again. Yeah, you're not going to find more of a hater of JJ Spawn than me, I imagine. I just don't care for JJ Spawn. This is a fantastic lineup. Scheffler, Siwoo Kim, Pearson, Cootie, Sam Stevens, Novak, and Putnam. Like, I actually don't even have an issue with this whatsoever. These were actually golfers that Byron and I brought up Sunday night on our live stream. Would you go this far down? Sure. Why not? This doesn't seem like a bad lineup. So anyways, okay. I might have exhausted that segment, but I wanted to show you all the ins and outs for lineup construction this week. It is very unique. Anytime that Scottie Scheffler is $14,000, it's always going to be unique. I wanted to show you what the Arnold Palmer Invitational lineups look like versus, you know, any lineup that we've seen 14,000 and above, or any lineup that was a successful lineup. That's a huge. I have to make that. Oh my God, I can't think of the word. Distinction. I had to make that distinction. Successful lineups. We want to win a GPP. We want to win thousands of dollars. We don't want to just min cash. So how do we go about doing that? Well, let's look at some past successful lineups. That's the whole point of this segment. Take a look. Which type of 14K lineups have had success in the past? And then what kind of lineups have had success at the API? I think, just to recap what I just covered, you're either putting 2 AK golfers in your lineup, or you're doing a 10-9-8-7-7-6 type of structure, or you're going with Scottie and you have to incorporate 2 6K golfers into your lineup somehow, and you're either choosing between an 8K and 2 7s, maybe a 9 and 2 7s if you can swing that. There are interesting ways to build lineups this week. So with that being said, that's it. That's my recap. I know maybe you guys already knew something like that, but it's good to go over and show you what it all looks like. So we are at the 1 hour mark, so there is a roll call. I want to know how many of you guys are going to play Scottie Scheffler. Put a number 1. Put the number 1 in chat if you will play Scottie Scheffler. Put a 0 in chat if you are not going to play Scottie. Okay. I put it, I actually pasted in there. If you are looking, if you see the text before you actually hear me say it, now there's a 10-second delay between you and I, but if you are not getting a 10-second delay and it's a minute delay or it's a 2-minute delay, you need to click the little live button right down there, either on your phone or on your browser. Make sure you're live with me. Sometimes, like how YouTube sends out the podcast, how it sends out the stream, it might actually be slower than typical. And so, or your internet's slower than my upload speed, whatever it is. So we will continuously kind of have a little bit of gaps, and that, like, those gaps will continue to get wider and wider and wider, and you'll be minutes behind me. You don't want to be minutes behind me. So make sure that you're caught up. And I need to go ahead and put this in. AJ Love says he's going to play Scottie. Logan says no. Joanne says no. Joanne's not going to play Scottie until Scottie wins. I know that for sure. BG Littleneck, but under the name of Skylar Bro. I got that right, didn't I, Skylar? You were BG Littleneck for forever. Corey Graves, what's going on, man? I saw you say hi earlier. What's going on? By the way, Skylar Bro says no to playing Scottie. Corey Graves says yes to playing Scottie. And so does Lombardi Lee. Kind of a mixed bag when it comes to playing Scottie versus not. Heart Hartman says no. Oh, Dumb and Dumber. Oh, Dumb and Dumber and Dumberer. Oh, yeah. I remember now. I remember. Okay, anybody else that comes in the chat? Ooh, there we go. Z-Chronic Nebula. Zero, no Scotty, bro. How about that approach play last time? I think he will top 10, then win next week. I mean, I'm playing him in one and done next week, so I hope you're right. I think we're going to see a Scotty this week that's going to be very similar to what we've seen in the past. I think he hits enough good shots to contend for first place, but ultimately, I think he still hits enough bad shots where it's going to keep him out of contention. I shouldn't say contention. Keep him out of the winner circle. That's what I meant to say. But we'll see. We'll see. All he needs to do is just make pars around the entire golf course except for on the par fives. If he can birdie all the par fives, he can win the tournament. That's kind of what it's going to come down to. And Scotty still is really good with his wedges. He's still really good with his wedges. He just not so good with the driver and the iron with his left misses. Okay, let's move on. That was a lengthy segment, but this one's probably going to be lengthier. We're going to get into the bucket system and then get into the Marquee Tee Times. This is exclusive to SweetSpotDFS. It's called the bucket system. You can find it at Fantasy Tools under the bucket system, or if you are on the cheat sheet, which is free for everybody, and you scroll down to the cheat sheet that I have highlighted in red and you hit the click here button right underneath it, that will pop up a new cheat sheet that looks like this. I have it zoomed in here. I'll actually show you. If I click on the cheat sheet, this is what it'll look like. Boom. Opens this up. You can go down to the bucket system for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. It's a little tab on the bottom of this Google sheet called the bucket system. This is where we're going to find projections. And we're going to talk about those projections. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the website, which is very similar to the summary table you have on here. Look at this. Looks very similar. Just looks a little bit, looks prettier. Let's put it that way. It looks clearer, looks more concise. I like this. This is good. Now, what do I do with the bucket system? Oh no, I think I might have messed up. I think I might have. Oh, for sure. Okay, well that stinks. The minimums should have numbers in them. The issue why they don't is I must have put down the wrong year. That was probably a copy and paste error, honestly. So these zeros, I bet you it's taking into account. Oh, it is. This is my fault. This is an error. I put in, I know I did this. I can, and I can't update it right now. It'll take too long. Yeah, it'll take too long. So what I ended up doing is every week I have to update the tournament from if the 2026 version of the tournament finished already, or is the last finished tournament in 2025 or whatever year it was. I accidentally updated the Arnold Palmer Invitational to have finished in 2026 instead of keeping it at 2025. So because there's no event that's been finished for 20, well, I should say it's because the Arnold Palmer Invitational hasn't finished yet. I have 0 instances of any of these things happening. So 0's the minimum, which stinks. That stinks. But here, we'll use the Google Sheet. This is going to look very similar to mine. I'm going to go over to mine right now. Just, I don't want you guys getting confused. So this is what it should really look like. Should have these in there. That stinks. I like to showcase the website whenever I can, and this just didn't do it. Okay, so why does the bucket system matter? And by the way, I will have it updated right after this stream, so you can use the bucket system on the website. But for now, what I would do is I would go under this column here, and I'm going to take out all the zeros. And basically, this is going to show you that every single year, golfers from these buckets have finished inside the top 10 this many times. Every single year. We have a minimum of at least 2 golfers from the last year 1 bucket to finish inside the top 10 every single year. Now, if you want to play devil's advocate or you want to be critical with this type of analysis, whatever, I don't care, go for it. There are 2, this tournament is more of a course history type of tournament. And the fact that at least 2 golfers who finished 20th place or better the year before go on to finish inside the top 10 the next year, you might go, well, yeah, of course, it's course history. The best golfers in the world play this tournament. They keep coming back to this and they keep doing well. Yeah. It's still worth noting there are some other events that this doesn't happen, that the best golfers go and play and they don't finish inside the top 10. This is just more confirmation that you do want to play golfers who topped 20 last year. Here's the beautiful thing. The cheat sheet, the new updated cheat sheet, which is what I would actually recommend using. If you click on this week, it should already be loaded in as this week. Then there's a new tool, the next week button here will show you what next week's event looks like. That'll come out on Friday. But for this week, if we go and we click in the buckets here, you can see last year has a row of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In fact, all of these stats have numbers. That's the buckets. Last year 1. Just drill down on last year 1. It'll turn black. Hit the little X button right there, and you can see all the golfers who finished inside the top 20 last year, all sorted by salary. We have 18 total golfers. You can see that in the little info box up here. The strength of field is nearly half. Half of the total strength of field is represented in this bucket, the last year 1 bucket. And there's only 18 golfers out of 72. Primarily because Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy are in this bucket. Same with Tommy Fleetwood. That's like 1, 2, and 3 in the world. So yeah, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. So we expect at least 2 golfers from this bucket to finish inside the top 10. And if you are using the cheat sheet, again, looks like that, but mine looks like this. There is a projection of 2 to 6. 2 to 6. To finish inside the top 10 this week. 2 to 6. Some other information you can see. We've never seen more than 2 golfers in the optimal lineup from this bucket. We have seen up to 3 inside the top 5, and we've seen up to 6 inside the top 10. And that is exactly our projection, is 2 to 6. When it comes to these buckets, please pay attention to which buckets Scotty Scheffler is in. So he's in the strokes gained 1 bucket. He's in the course history 1 bucket. He's in the recent form 1 bucket. He's in the last year 1 bucket. And then he didn't play last week, so he's in the last week 6 bucket. So he's in all of these 1 buckets. Strokes gained, course history, recent form, and last year. If I show you the optimizer, these little projections right here, these are the conditionals. These all apply the bucket system projections. For last year 1, I have 1 to 5. Not 2 to 6, but 1 to 5. Most of you already know where I'm going with this. AJ Love would call this the Scotty Scheffler button. If Scotty Scheffler's in the field, click the button that Scotty's in the field. And what'll end up happening is these projections all go down by 1. The projections of the buckets that he's in. Because we have to take this into consideration. You have to. You have to take Scotty's his price tag into consideration. There is the likelihood that Scotty Scheffler, if I go back to the cheat sheet, Scotty Scheffler is like, there's a really strong likelihood he finishes inside the top 10. He would then, like himself, his finish goes towards the success of that bucket projection. So again, if I look at it, it's 2 to 5. Let me zoom in a lot. It's 2 to 6 technically. But if Scotty finishes 10th place, that will count as a success towards this bucket projection, because technically a golfer from that bucket did finish inside the top 10. However, if you want to win a GPP, Scotty can't finish 10th for you. He can't finish 10th for you. So with that being said, we need to take into consideration the other golfers in that bucket. And what you will see is Scotty isn't just surrounded by 6Ks and 7Ks from this bucket. He is also surrounded by the second highest priced golfer in Rory McIlroy. He's also surrounded by the third highest priced golfer in this field, Tommy Fleetwood, who's $10,300. Well, what happens if all three of these guys finishes inside the top 10? Can you play all three of them? Of course not. The answer is no. Not even possible. Not even remotely. The lowest priced golfer is $6,000. Three of them, 3 6K golfers equals $1,800. You add Scotty Scheffler on that bumps it up to $3,200. And then you add Rory, who's almost $12,000. So you add that on to $3,200. Now you're at $4,400. And guess what? Tommy Fleetwood's $10,000. If I'm doing my math correctly, 44,000 plus 10,000 is not under 50,000. And that's your salary cap. So you can't play these three golfers together. So at most you can only play 2. At least if Scotty is in consideration. At most you could play 2. Of course you wouldn't want to do that. But could you do a Rory and a Tommy Fleetwood lineup? The answer is yeah, you could. You certainly could. I don't know if it's worthwhile. But if you did just play those two guys, I shouldn't even put it that way. I'm trying to make the argument as to why to lower the projection. These two golfers, you couldn't pair up with any of these 9K golfers. You might be able to pair them up with Shane Lowry and maybe Justin Rose, but then you'd be able to pair them up with the rest of the golfers down here. And I don't even know if that's even worthwhile. Because that same conversation we had about Scotty Scheffler and then Rory and Tommy, if Scotty does play well, but finishes 10th or 9th, and then Rory or Tommy do play well, what happens if the guys underneath them play better than Fleetwood or McIlroy? You have to keep that into consideration. And again, this bucket projection's 2 to 6. So if I go back to the cheat sheet, I know I understand what this sounds like. I might have some of you guys just being like, what the hell are you getting at? Here's what I'm getting at. The projection's 2 to 6. So Scotty could finish inside the top 10. Rory could finish inside the top 10. Maybe Tommy doesn't, but let's say Colin does. Let's say Henley does. Let's say Shane Lowry does. That's 5 golfers that I have selected. At most, you can put 3 of those golfers in a lineup together. At most, you could put 3 in a lineup together and make a solid lineup. So I have 5. So what I'm trying to get at is I'm not trying to pigeonhole myself to actually make the optimizer or force myself to pick at least 5 golfers here. I'm not going to pigeonhole myself, because if something like this happens, I'm only going to want to play 2, maybe 3. Maybe three. But yeah, 2 is probably the highest number. So anyways, I dropped the projections down because we got to add a little bit of common sense to these numbers. If we just become all robotic and just think to ourselves, yeah, 2 to 6, maybe even 3 to 6, that projection can still be right. But you can't build a lineup that way. And that's what that's a hard thing I've had to learn over the years is like, I used to take these projections as black and white projections and made sure that I had somewhere between 2 to 6 golfers in my lineup from here, and most likely it was going to be 3. Well, the projection ends up hitting. It ends up being successful or correct, but I didn't win any money. I didn't even come close in some of those lineups. And that's because of the scenario I just showed you. If these high-priced golfers play well, they're going to be successful for the projection, but they are not going to be successful for your lineups. So, a lot of word salad to give you guys. Be careful if you are hand selecting, golfers from these buckets. Remember where Scotty is. Scotty's in all of the 1 buckets. So again, last year 1. If I pull up this bucket right here, he's in the last year 1 bucket. He's in the course history 1, the recent form 1, the salary 1, and the strokes gained 1. He is a last week 6. And again, you can tell by the bucket numbers that are right here. So when you look at these projections, if again, you actually use these projections and you are looking and saying to yourself, I need at least 1 from here, or I need at least 2, or I need at least 3. If they're in the buckets that Scotty's in, refrain. And you can see all of these buckets Scotty's in. So again, word salad, I've already incorporated that into the bucket projections for each of you guys. So if you ask for the optimizer, I've already made those updates in the optimizer. You don't even have to do anything. I put all those projections in here the way that I see it. I do have to remove this now that I see it and remember it. Okay. Anyways, so I like to look at the minimum projection and go filter by condition greater than or equal to 1. And then from there, I kind of want to look at each of the lowest maximum projections and kind of go over that. Let's just go. Oh, you know what? Let me show you something else. I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut out Scotty. Actually, first, let's go ahead and screenshot this. I just want to show you the difference of these projections, at least some of them. I did this earlier today. I'm going to go ahead and cut out Scotty from my spreadsheets. Just gone. And now when we look at the projections compared to what the projections were before, so for the last year 1 bucket, it goes 2 to 5 without Scotty in it. It was 2 to 6. If we go down to the course history 1 bucket, now it's a 0 to 2 projection, but it's a 1 to 3 with Scotty in it. We go down to the recent form 1 bucket, it's now a 1 to 4 projection when it was nearly a 2 to 5 projection. So you see like the Scotty effect, like AJ Love posted in chat. Yeah, it is a Scotty effect. He affects these projections tremendously. And that's something to take into account. And again, I already did it. I already put it into the optimizer. But if you are looking at this manually, again, a lot of you guys do this. You're looking at these. Just be cognizant of what I just mentioned, the Scotty effect. But if I'm looking at just straight up, let's go 2.2. These technically would be your anchor buckets. You want at least 1 golfer from the last year 1 bucket, 1 golfer from the last year 2 bucket, golfers who did not play here last year as well as last week. I mean, that's the biggest projection bucket right here. That is a 5 to 11 for that projection. Course history 2, you want somewhere between 2 to 5 golfers. Course history 3, you want somewhere between 1 to 4. Recent form, you want 1 to 4. Recent, well, this is the Scott. There's Scotty in this bucket, by the way. Oh, I suppose I kicked him out. Let's bring him back. I need to go backwards a couple times. Sorry. Let's bring him back. All right, Scotty's back. Now we'll put that filter back on. I kind of got to do everything that I just did, but that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. 2.2. Okay, so we have a lot of the same, except for now we incorporate course history 1. That's for you all to decide. And I'm not really going to go throughout each of these buckets, but these are your quote unquote anchor buckets. Now, what you would do with that is you use the projections you see here, you go to the cheat sheet, and you apply whatever bucket you want to look at. So we were looking at course history 2s. That was a 2 to 5 bucket, by the way. So we kind of apply the same logic that we did with the Scotty effect. We want to play somewhere between 2 to 5 golfers from the course history 2 bucket. That's right here, course history 2. 2 to 5. 2 to 5. So we have 24 golfers in the bucket this week, and we can kind of double check that. It says 24 right here. 24. And there are 2 10K golfers in that bucket with Matt Fitzpatrick at 9,800. So if 2 of these guys finish inside the top 10, chances are you can't actually play them together. It is doable, but you might not build a quality lineup. So you might be able to reduce that projection by 1 on both sides, the min and the max. Let's see if I did that. I'm not sure if I did. It's 2 to 5 for course history 2. Do I have this down? I have it to 1 to 5. I think that's fine. Yeah, 1 to 5 seems right. So that's not the Scotty effect. That is just a high salary effect. And there are a lot of low 6K golfers, including Andrew Novak. So, you know, if you, again, I'm giving you all this information for you to go to the website and use this. This is free, by the way. This cheat sheet right here under Fantasy Tools is free. And you can sort, just hit the little bucket icon. That's how you find the buckets. Go figure. And then you can filter out by each of the buckets that are here and look at the golfers. Which ones do you like? Just remember what the projection is. 2 to 5, 1 to 5. Whatever you think is the proper way, and go from there. And in all honesty too, I know a lot of other podcasts just go through each of the golfers and say, hey, I like this golfer because of their strokes gain stats and yada, yada, yada. I just don't look at lineup building that way. I look at lineup building by putting meaningful lineups together that include golfers from all different types of stat categories, because that's what we see inside the top 10 every single week. And also, we don't always see the best golfers in each of those stat categories finishing inside the top 10. So you have to delineate also when it comes to lineup building, when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, you know, if this gives you a good reason to play Tommy Fleetwood, Xander Schauffele, or I know a lot of people are going to play Matt Fitzpatrick, there you go. Those are all good reasons as to why to play those golfers. But you also have Cam Young in this bucket, Bobby Mack, Patrick Cantlay, Victor Hovland, Ludwig, Ben Griffin. There are some good names in this bucket, and maybe that gives you reason to play those golfers. I think that's probably a good reason to play those golfers. Now on each of my tools, there's a little eraser button. We can go ahead, click the eraser button, and then everything goes back to where it looked like before you put filters on it. So one thing I do want to mention with the bucket system on the website, there are several sections to this bucket system. So if I scroll down, you're going to see results with lead-in stats. And you get to filter. There's a whole filter section over here called report filters. And what you can do here, you can filter by golfer, you can select the year, you can select the bucket you want to look at. I kind of like to, if I were to do, you know, 8K was the one salary range that mattered, right? When we went over pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. So if I just put the 8K range in here, and I want to look at every 10K golfer that finished inside the 8K range, or I'm sorry, every 8K golfer that finished inside the top 10, I'll go year by year and just look at the stat categories that come with it. Now, I have 3 different views you can look at. These are the raw stats, which is just their course history, their last year finish, their recent form, their last week finish, and then whatever strokes gained bucket they belong to. If you just wanted to look at strokes gained stats, you certainly could do that. That changes what you're looking at. This is the view. It changes your view of the same 4 golfers we were just looking at. This is what I love about the bucket system on the website. It gives you way more information than what the spreadsheets do. So with this, you can take whatever you want. Each of these 8K golfers from last year had positive off the tee. Each of them had positive approach. They also had all positive strokes gained total. If I go to the raw stats, I think we're going to find a little bit more commonalities with all of the 8K golfers that have played well at this tournament. 2 of them finished inside the top 20 from the year before. 3 of them finished inside the top 20 from the week before. Okay, well, that's just 2025. Let's look at 2024. So we go to 2024. This is the 8K range yet again. Okay. So all these golfers finished inside the top 10. We only had 1 golfer, Sahith Theegala, who finished top 20 last year. Everybody else at least finished and made the cut. That's whatever. Last week, we don't have any top 20s from last week. Okay, so that might be an anomaly, or maybe just not a stat category to worry about. But look at recent form, 16.33. If I go back to 2025, I have a 16.67, a 23.8, and then, a couple golfers here in the 30s. And in 2024, I got 31, 41, 41. Okay, how about 2023? What do we see in 2023? We get 2 more golfers that finish inside the top 20 the year before. None of these golfers actually played the week before. And then when it comes to recent form, we have a golfer that has really good recent form, just like we did last year, or in 2025, as well as 2024. We also have one that has 23 for recent form and then 36. So decent recent form. And then you can also look at the course history stuff too. So that was pretty good course history there. These golfers in 2024, not so much. How about 2025? Not so much. So when it became a signature event, course history didn't really matter for the 8K range. It had more or less to do with recent form. If I go back to 2022, look at this again. No golfers who finished inside the top 20 the year before, but recent form's good and had a top 20 finish the week before. Okay. So we're seeing a lot of recent, like at least 1 golfer with good recent form from the 8K range coming in and playing well. Here we go again. Max Homa, Will Zalatoris, and a top 20 from the week before, top 20s from the year before. This is all the 8K range. I'm going through the years. We're in 2021 right now. If I look at 2020, you had Tyrrell Hatton, who had really good recent form coming in. And then we had a 28.67 and a 28.5. Okay. We can continue going on. But what I want to know is, all right, let's look at the 8K range. Again, I'm going back to the cheat sheet. I'm going into the little filter here. Now, salaries, this might be a little challenging for some people. Salary 1 just means 10K. And if you need a little refresher as to what these all mean, if you go back to the bucket system and you scroll down to the salary buckets, you're going to see each of the salary buckets, their numbers, and what salary that corresponds to. So salary 3, that's your 8K. If I go back to the cheat sheet and we go to salary 3, I'm going to drill down on that. And now we get all of our 8K golfers. There's 11 of them, 11 8K golfers. So what are we looking for? We're looking for really good recent form. And we kind of want to find a top 20 from the year before. We kind of want to find a top 20 from the week before. There's 1 golfer that kind of hits it all. All of it. That's Shane Lowry. If you were watching Byron and my podcast Sunday night, at first I didn't really care. And then he's just like, well, how do you feel about Shane Lowry? Or maybe it was the opposite way around. I can't remember. But then we went through and we looked at all the course history stuff with Shane Lowry. And it didn't look like he had super good course history. He had a couple top 20s and whatever. But the heartbreak that he had last week, he actually does pretty well going into that next event, and the next event being the Arnold Palmer Invitational. He's the only guy besides Jake Knapp. Jake Knapp is the only other golfer that has really good recent form. So we've got Shane Lowry with good recent form. We've got Jake Knapp with the good recent form. And again, if I were to, I mean, you can look at their buckets too. They're recent form 1 bucket guys. If I go back to the bucket system and I scroll down to these players, remember we were going year by year. So if I go 2025 and we just look at the bucket IDs that they belong to, count how many recent form 1 buckets we have. There's 1 in 2025. 2024. We've got 1 again, so that's 2. So it's at least 1 each year so far. We go to 2023. Oh, look, recent form 1. So we got 3 now. 3. Go to 2022. Look at that, another recent form 1. There's 4 in a row now. Go to 2021. Oh, look, there's a recent form 1. There's 5 in a row. Go back or go to 2020. Hey, look, another recent form 1. That's 6 in a row. Go to 2019, and that's when it breaks. Our 8K golfers in 2019, not so great. 2018, yeah, we got another recent form 1 golfer that's in the 8K range that finished inside the top 10. So we're looking at 7 out of 8 years that we've had at least 1 recent form 1 golfer from the 8K range. Like, we're being very specific to finish inside the top 10. And this week we have 2. Now here's another thing we can do. I have the salary range split up like this. Well, guess what we also can do? We can go into the recent form 1 bucket and just see how many golfers from the 8K range actually qualified every single year for the recent form 1 bucket. We will want to remove the finishing position. Just remove that. And now we go year by year. There was only 1 golfer in 2025 that qualified. That was in the 8K range. That was Russell Henley. Just 1. In 2024, there was 1. That was, I thought those were the same golfers. That was Will Zalatoris. There's only 1 golfer. 2023, there was only 1 golfer. 2022, there were 2 golfers. 2. 1 finished second, 1 finished 72nd. Big disparity there. 2021, there's 1 golfer. 2020, there were 3 golfers. 1 golfer won, the other 2 missed the cut. In 2019, so we didn't have, and remember, in 2019, we didn't have any top 10 finishers, but guess what? Charles Howell III and Bubba Watson finished top 20, 17th and 15th place respectively. I wonder in 2019, I go Arnold Palmer, 2019. Oh, I don't have DK points. Never mind. Can't do it. I was going to say, if I had DraftKings points, we could see what points they scored, how close they were to top 10 DraftKings points. But anyways, there were 4. 2 of them finished top 20, 1 finished 23rd. So, and in 2018, there was 1 golfer. 2017, I don't have salaries for. Oh, that's where my salaries go back to. Now that I think about it. That's why the bucket system's actually not pulling in the correct information. Okay. So anyways, every single year, an 8K golfer with good recent form, and good recent form, I mean the recent form 1 bucket, has finished inside the top 15. Now, 7 out of 8 years, we've had an 8K golfer in that recent form 1 bucket finish inside the top 10. And a lot of those iterations only had 1 golfer that qualified as an 8K golfer and a recent form 1 golfer. We have 2 this year, Jake Knapp and Shane Lowry. Now, if you are a believer in the sweet spot process, you are just anchoring your lineups around 1 of these guys, not 2, 1 of these guys. I might do that in my lineups. I actually might go 33% Jake Knapp, 33% Shane Lowry, and 33% just this year's not the year. So I can anchor around that. Ryan, you missed out. You're too far behind. That one doesn't count. Yeah, how interesting is that, right? Now, remember, in a lot of those other years, for recent form 2s showed up inside the top 10 as well. So here's the thing. You're choosing between Jake Knapp and Shane Lowry. And then you're going to choose between Fowler, Kitayama, Goddard, Hovland, Griffin, Cantlay, and English. Feel smart, you're also too late. I'll have a roll call here pretty soon, but you guys are too far behind. Let's see. Okay, actually, you want to know what? I kind of want to go over the recent form 2s as well. In the 8K range, so we go to the bucket. Select bucket, we go down to recent form 2s. And let's go year by year. Yeah, let's go year by year. 2025. We had 3 golfers finish inside the top 10 from this bucket. This is the 8K range yet again. Only looking at 8K golfers. 3 finished inside the top 10 out of 6. Going to 2024. 1 finished inside the top 10, but Hideki Matsuyama finished 12th. That's pretty darn close. Pretty darn close. But 1 out of 5. 2023. We had 2 guys finish inside the top 10 out of 5. So we're batting like 30-40%. And then we have 0 in 2022, but we have a 13th place finish and a 17th place finish. Those are still pretty good. 2021, we had 2 golfers inside the top 10 out of, how many is that? 3, 6, 8. Okay. So 1 out of 4. 2020, 2 guys inside the top 10 out of 4. 2019, 2 guys out of 4. 2018, none. Okay. So 6 out of 8 years, we've seen at least 1 guy, if not 2, from the recent form 2 bucket in the 8K range finish inside the top 10. So again, remember, we have that choice between Shane Lowry or Jake Knapp. Then all these recent forms that have a yellow color, we need to figure out 1 or 2 of them, really. So if you're going to play 3 8Ks, you're going to put Shane or you're going to put Knapp in your lineup. And then you're going to figure out of Fowler, Kitayama, Goddard, Hovland, Griffin, Cantlay, English. You want to find 2 of those guys at most. Maybe just 1, but 2 at most to put in your lineup. I kind of just, I picked this bucket because I saw so many 8K golfers finish inside the top 10 that it was worth exploring. And that recent form 1 bucket for the 8K range is so ridiculously successful. Like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I consider those golfers, right? So, the other remaining guys in the recent form 3 bucket, let's see. We got Burns and we got Oberg. Maybe it's a one or the other situation here as well. We might as well cover the entire 8K range. So I'm going to go down to the recent form 2s, and we're going to flip that to recent form 3s. And we'll go year by year. So in 2025, we had 4 golfers. 1 just finished outside the top 10. That was Robert McIntyre. So 1 out of 4, that's pretty close. 2024, we had a 2nd place and a 4. So we had 2 golfers from this bucket finish inside the top 10. That's 2 out of 4, by the way. Remember, we only have 2 golfers that qualify for this combination of buckets. 2023, 1 out of 3. 2022, 1 out of 2. 2021, there were none. 2020, 1 out of 3. 2019, 1 guy finished 17th. The other guy's not so great. 2018, 2 out of 5. We're batting like 50%. So now, oh my goodness. Okay, here's how I would actually build lineups. If I'm being quite honest with you guys, I think there will be a lineup where I put 4 8K golfers in my lineup. And it's going to start with Jake Knapp or Shane Lowry. Then, of the golfers in the recent form 2 bucket in this 8K range, I'm gonna select 2. I don't know which 2, but it's gonna be 2. And then I'm gonna select between Ludwig or Sam Burns. And that will be my 4 8K golfers. I typically never play 4 8Ks, but I'm heavily considering it this week. I think 4 is the most that I'm going to do, and if I'm going to give you a number out of 100 lineups, how many times am I going to do that? It's probably going to be like 5 out of 100, 1 out of 20. Like I would never put a lot of stock into that. 3 8K golfers now, I also don't want to put a lot of stock into that. If I was to give you a number, it's probably going to be maybe 1 out of 4 lineups. Honestly, 3 8Ks, just because of how good this looks, like how it's just worked out that way. Maybe not even that much. Maybe 1 out of 5. Maybe I'll do 1 out of 5. Yeah, 1 out of 5. I'll do that. And then it looks like I'm going to do a lot of lineups with 2 8K golfers in there and maybe 1. I don't know how many lineups I'm going to have with 0 8K. Maybe that I have to reserve that to like 10%. Maybe less, 5%. I think that's how I'm going to focus on building lineups this week, is doing something similar to that. The only thing that really makes sense to me. Because we can always make our decisions with Scotty and or Rory. We can make our decisions with, you know, starting in the 9s and whatever. But I think the meat and the potatoes for this tournament is the 8K range. I personally, again, I've never really liked the 8K range. I've never been a guy that peppers the 8K range. I kind of already said that before, but just to remind you guys, I don't really care to do that. Okay, so let's move on. I don't know if I really have anything else to talk about with the buckets. I just wanted to show you guys some things that I noticed. I will talk more about this in depth tomorrow during the Wednesday members only stream. Remember, I do members only streams. I'm going to really be digging into this and just really taking a look. By the way, members only for tomorrow night. You got to be a white tier member and above. Got to be white tier member and above. That's $4.99 a month. Okay. Anything else to cover with the bucket system? I don't think so, honestly. Just trying to think. I'm sure there are other things we could talk about. I mean, if you really wanted to look into like what buckets have succeeded the most, use all the sort options up here for any of the stat categories you're looking at. I got top 10 frequencies. I've got optimal lineup frequencies, top 5, top 20s, all that good stuff. But look at this. The most common is I should say the most successful is a 10K golfer inside the top 10. Go figure. Followed by 8K. 8K has the second best success rate when it comes to how many golfers from the bucket fish inside the top 10. Followed by recent form 1. Byron and I were talking about course history, and course history ones are up there as well. I mean, it's 4 percentage points behind recent form. But I think where the course history really hits, actually, let's look at that. Sure, let's look at that. Your best course history golfers. All you got to do is come down here again, put course history 1, I shouldn't say again, but put course history 1 in there. And let's just filter out by top 10s and go year by year. 2025. We had 0. Let's actually, I'm going to pump it up. Okay, so Scheffler was the best performing golfer from that bucket. He finished 11th. Rory was next at 15th. Sung Jae at 19th. That's crazy. Right, that's 2025. 2024. Scheffler won the event. So it's an 11K. Okay, here's the thing to note. Who's the best performer? Scheffler, 12,000, followed by Rory, 10,000. So 12 and 10. 2024. Scheffler at 11.3, Homa at 92. Those are the only guys inside the top 10. 2023, 10.6 Rory, 86 Jordan, but then 10.9 Scotty. High price tags for course history 1 golfers. 2022, Scotty at 10.6, Rory at 11.1. And 8K golfers, by the way. I kind of gleaned over Cam Young at 87. But anyways, 8K golfers. I'm sure they're also recent form 1 guys. No, they're not. Recent form 3 and recent form 2. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Good to know. We should actually look at that. to be honest. 2022, 10-6, 11-1. Yeah, go figure. 2021, 11,000 followed by 7,500. That's crazy. And then Rory at 11.5. So course history 1 golfers that do well here. Keith Mitchell, $6,600. Wow. That's worth looking into. So again, we go to the cheat sheet. Let's clear out all the filters. Hit the little eraser button down here. Drill into the buckets, and we're looking at course history 1 golfers. There are only 7 total golfers. There's nobody in the 8K range. So we have Scotty and Rory. Then we go down to Bridgman, Cootie, Jordan Spieth, Fox, and Sung J M. There were no commonalities with 7Ks or 6Ks. And we have no 8K golfers in here. I mean, I guess if there's one golfer that kind of fits the mold, it's going to be Jordan Spieth, because he's the only guy that has a recent form of worse than recent form 1 bucket. He's a recent form 2 guy. And every time I kind of looked at low price golfers, they did not have good recent form, but they had good course history. And again, you can do that with the bucket system, with the lead-in stats. Yet again, you can look at that. So 2025, we didn't see any like 7K golfers. 8K here, recent form 4 bucket for Sung Jae. Go to 2023. Our 8K golf, well, we don't have any 8Ks this year, and nobody really to talk about with 6Ks or 7Ks. Seabez had a recent form 2 bucket heading into the event. He finished 20th, so that's not super great to look at. 2021, where he finished 7th, came in with the recent form bucket of 2. Recent form bucket 2. So that seems to be a commonality. So Jordan Spieth is live. $6,600 Keith Mitchell. He was a recent form 3 bucket. Adam Long was a recent form 3 bucket. He finished 24th. Never mind. So again, going back to the cheat sheet, the only guy that really follows that is Jordan Spieth. Corey Graves, welcome, man. That's awesome. Appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a red tier member. Just be obnoxious about it. Thank you. So I will build lineups for you, Corey. That's another thing. Red tier members and above are the only people that I'm building lineups for. Tomorrow, Corey, if you're looking to watch the member stream, the members only stream, you got to be a white tier. Oh, you are a white tier member. I saw the red badge. Never mind. You're perfect. You got it. You're golden. Thank you for becoming a white tier member. You get to watch the member stream tomorrow. Members only. Or I should call it the only members. Anyways, so Jordan Spieth is someone we might want to look at. I'm going to say Jordan with McIlroy and or Scheffler. Never mind, not and Scheffler. It's or Scheffler. Rory plus Spieth or Scheffler plus Spieth. Heck, I'm kind of thinking like a Scheffler Burns Spieth lineup seems pretty darn good. Let's take a look at that. I want to look at that right now. Scheffler, and it only Burns because they're friends, right? And I don't really think Spieth and Scheffler are really good friends. They're friends. They're competitors. They've played together before. Hey, that's not terrible. 10, 8, 2 7s, and 2 6s. That was one of those common lineup builds that we saw for this event. That's with Putnam. I don't know if I care about Putnam. Oh, Justin Thomas was in that lineup. Did you see that? I went by it way too fast. There he is again. JT. We get the whole band together. I don't really care about Berger, by the way. Oh my God. All right. I want to build lineups like that. Maybe tomorrow night. That's super interesting. Super interesting. Okay. Well, I've exhausted the bucket system. A whole hour dedicated to the bucket system, which, I mean, like I said, I thought I could create a whole segment. I could create a whole video just based off the bucket system. There's so much to cover with the bucket system. Byron, if you're just getting in, we just went over some really good information about some 8K golfers. Basically, the choice is we definitely want to play one of 2 guys, Jake Knapp or Shane Lowry. Because every single year we have seen golfers of their stat profile inside the top 10 100% of the time. Top 11 100% of the time. No, top 15. But 7 out of 8 years, we've seen him inside the top 10, if not the top 5. So it's Jake Knapp or it's Shane Lowry, but it's not both of them. We're not putting both of those guys in our lineups. It's just one or the other. One or the other. So, okay. That is the bucket system. We're going to do roll call number 2. Roll call number 2. I'll post it in the chat. Roll call number 2 is, which 8K golfer are you playing this week? And I will go ahead and put the filter on. Here you go. 8Ks. Here are your 8K golfers right there. Read them and weep them. Nope, you can't have both. That's right. That's right, Phil. Can't have both. Wheels up. You're saying Jake? I mean, yeah, there's one Jake, but come on. AJ loves breaking my back. Oh my God. All right, guys, fine. Byron, I'll do another beer bet with you. Both of them will not be inside the top 10. Ricky Oberg or Cantlay. Got it, got it, got it. Jake Knapp, love it. Screenshot this if you guys want. I'm going to start entering people into the giveaway. Wheels up. AJ Love. Byron, breaking rules, of course. Back 9 bits. Ryan Henson. Phil Smart. Z Chronic Nebula. Look at all of the participation. Appreciate it, everybody. Corey Graves. Could be Jake from Safe Farm. That's right. That's right. Could be. Logan, I know you stream. Streamer brain is a thing, man. You tell me Jake and my eyes might go cross-eyed. I don't know Jake. The Knapper. All right. I will accept entries for the next 2 minutes. There we go. John coming in. Johnny B. I like how that's spelt. Johnny B. Okay. I will accept it for 2 more minutes. So people, and oh, by the way, if you are watching this and the chat, we've already zoomed past with the chat, you might be minutes behind. Hit the live button down there. Catch up with us. Go ahead, catch up with us. How long are you going for still, and why are there only 11 likes with 22 people watching? Whoa. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to say, if we get the stream up to 25 likes, I will give away 5 free memberships. 5 free memberships for 25 likes. And Byron, I have yet to go over the Marquee Tee Times, and I have yet to build lineups for red tier members of this channel and above. Red tier and above. $2. $2 a month, and I'll be building lineups for you. So, let's go ahead and get into the Marquee Tee Times. You can actually follow along with me, by the way. You can follow me on the cheat sheet. Remember, there's this cheat sheet. If you scroll down, all the way down to this cheat sheet, there's two on the cheat sheet page. Click here. This opens up the Google sheet. And if you follow along with me and you apply the filters the same way, you can see the exact same golfers. But in order to find the Marquee Tee Times, make sure you hit the little filter button up here Kind of looks like a calculator, honestly. Like there's the normal filter button, and then there's the calculator that has the stored filters that I've created for everybody. Find the DraftKings one there, and then sort under group rank A to Z. And these are the Marquee Tee Times. So with the weekly, with the Marquee Tee Times, we want to find 2 to 4 golfers, 2 to 4 from the Marquee Tee Times. And we want to anchor our lineups around that. Now, the caveat here is you do not pair golfers up together from the same Marquee Tee Time. Like, so Scheffler and Henley are in group 1. This is Marquee Tee Time 1. They're not in the first overall group to go out, but this is group 1 on the Sweet Spot process. Just to show you really quickly how this looks in previous years, I actually haven't even looked at this, so I could be completely wrong. This is sorted by group rank. You see all the like colors here? The blue indicates GPP winning lineups. Do you see them playing with the same golfers? Sure, Scheffler and sorry. Lowry played with his buddy Rory Thursday, Friday. And guess what? Lowry was in the GPP winning lineup. Rory was not in a single GPP, optimal, Sweet Spot optimal, nothing. Oh, we can come down here. Look at this. In group 6, you had Bradley who finished 5th and Morikawa who finished 2nd. Morikawa was not in the optimal lineup. He was not in the GPP winning lineup. He was not in the Sweet Spot optimal. However, he finished 2nd place. He scored 4.5 points less than Keegan, who finished 5th place and was $8,400. So you could argue with me that, oh, you could play these 2 golfers together. You could have, but you weren't winning any. You weren't winning GPP winning money. And so, anyways, you can see. So there was actually only one optimal lineup golfer last year in the Marquee Tee Times. That was Keegan. Sepp Straka was in group 11 down here. He was also in the optimal lineup. But let's look at 2024. 2024, I'll go ahead and put that same filter on, group ranking. Oh, wow. Look at this. 4 golfers in the optimal lineup. The little black tick marks here indicate optimal lineups. 4 of them. The little green color over here in this SS rank, that means these are the golfers from the Marquee Tee Times. 4 of them. 4 of them. And neither one were playing together. Neither one. None of them. Scotty was with Sam Burns. Nope. Clark was with Small Hands Tom Kim. Nope. I'm saying nope as in Tom Kim was not in it. Look at this. You had Russell Henley and Hideki Matsuyama. 4th place and 12th place. That was close, but no Hideki. And then Sahith Theegala played with Sung J M, and Sahith was in the optimal lineup. That was 2024. 2023, I mean, this isn't a signature event, so maybe it doesn't really matter to you, but you can see it on the screen. Oh, wait. Sorry. We'll do this. You did have 2 optimal lineup golfers together, but this is when they're in groups of 3. So I'll admit it when it's wrong. But you also have a Sweet Spot optimal that's here that didn't have golfers playing together. There was 3 of them that you wanted to select. A 10, a 9, and an 8. And remember, the Sweet Spot optimal always beats the GPP. So that's one way to look at that. Look here, and I don't know if I'm going to have... I don't think this goes by Marquee Tee Times. No, it doesn't. The color over here, I think, does, though. These are technically the Marquee Tee Times. Do I have... Nope. This one fits, too. There's 3 golfers in the optimal lineup. They weren't playing together. So we go back to 2026. I just show you that to provide you proof. You want to select 2 to 4 of these guys, and you do not want to pair them up together. So you got Scotty and Henley in group 1. In group 2, you got Fleetwood and Ben Griffin. In group 3, you get Rory and Victor Hovland. In group 4, you get Xander and Shane Lowry. Here's kind of an interesting thought. Remember the 8K range? You want to play either Shane Lowry or Jake Knapp? Well, what if you want to play Xander? If all your Xander lineups should have Jake Knapp in it then. So now, out of your 6 lineup positions, if you really want to play Xander and you want to follow the sweet spot process, the things that we've just been learning, that means you're already anchored to 2 guys and you only need to find 4 golfers to build the rest of your lineup with. And speaking of Jake Knapp, he's in a lineup with Matt Fitzpatrick. This is I'm sorry, I'm going to geek out a little bit here. This is what I love about the sweet spot process. I get to just kind of remove myself from making hard decisions because I either have to pick between Jake Knapp or Matt Fitzpatrick. Which one do I like? Or like those 2 groups back to back. Xander, Shane. Okay, well, if I pick Shane, guess what I get to put him with? Matt Fitzpatrick. Because I'm not putting Shane with Knapp. This is, oh my God, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Goddard and Bridgman is in group 6. Group 7 is Hideki Matsuyama and Justin Thomas. There's something to be said about this group. Yes, I don't trust Matsuyama. Me and Byron talked about it in Sunday night stream. He just doesn't hit the ball straight enough anymore. There's a lot of concern there. Justin Thomas is coming back from a back injury, or a back procedure, I should say. But, you know, kind of had an injured back for a while. The one, what's the term I'm looking for? The one positive that I'm going to have for this group is they both hit the same shot shape. They basically hit just a little peely cut. So why not? They both hit fades. And usually when you play with a golfer that hits the same type of ball flight as you, it helps you picture or frame the hole and makes you more accurate. So there's a, man, I can't think of the term. I said there's a positive, but I'm thinking of a different thing. A shining light, a glimmer of light, a glimmer of hope. In group 8, you got Kurt Kitayama and Pearson Coody. Lovely. I love Pearson Coody. That makes me not need to choose Kurt Kitayama. And then Byron, I know you're going to have a really hard time trying to figure this one out, but Harris English or Patrick Cantlay. Like, you're going to have to really dig deep into your soul and try to figure out which golfer you like the best out of these 2. Because I know how much you love Patrick Cantlay. I know you really want to play Patty Ice. I know you do. I know you do. So anyways, for each and every one of you that is a red tier member and above, I will build you lineups. You can, or you don't have to, select 2 to 4 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times, because we're going to get to lineup building right now. Select 2 to 4 golfers from the screen to anchor your lineups around. Now, if you don't anchor 2 to 4 golfers from here, the optimizer will. The optimizer will. It'll do it automatically. So if you don't even want to make those choices, you don't have to. You really don't have to. If you like other golfers, that's fine. You can anchor around other golfers. And then the optimizer will find the 2 to 4 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times to put into your lineup. Jesus, Ryan, you don't have to yell at me like that, man. Matt Fitz, Shane Lowry, Corey Connors. That's how I read that.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters, no. Maybe I am insane. Maybe I am insane. And maybe it's time for you to find out how insane I am. Yeah.
That's Ryan right there. Ryan yelling at me. Maybe I am insane. Z Chronic Nebula says, I like Cantlay too, but too soon, I think. Yeah, probably too soon. Did I miss any other? Did I miss chats from earlier? I can't remember. I shouldn't say I can't remember. I don't know. I don't think I did. See, Feel Smart coming in with the Scotty emojis. Love that. And he also said Scheffler Burns, but I don't know if that's the lineup that you, or if those are lineups you want me to build. Logan says I'm highest on Colin, Knapp, and Im. Why are we Of the people who like Sung Jae-im, why are we confident that he's even remotely healthy? Other than he's playing in this week's tournament. Did you guys see anything? Are there videos of him hitting golf balls that look really good? Like what's going on? Phil Smart says, you do an all UT lineup with what? With what? Cootie as well? Oh, University of Texas lineup. I see. Like Scheffler, Spieth, Cootie. I don't know who else is University of Texas. But I guess we have that information under the golfer information, right? Then Byron comes into the chat and completely blows it up by saying he's going to play both Lowry and Knapp, and then just continues to double down on that. If I'm still awake, he says, yeah. You know all the Jakes, including one with the snakes. Jake the Snake? Jake the Snake Roberts. I'm so glad you knew what I was talking about. If I remember, it ends kind of sadly. Oh, Logan goes, you hit me up in the fields with the Dragonheart reference. That was a childhood favorite, right up there with Homeward Bound. Oh my God, Homeward Bound's such a sad movie. Bizzle, you won the weekly giveaway. That's right, John. That's right. Check the beginning of the movie, or check the beginning of the video. You won. Alrighty, I think I've got everybody, all of the lineups up here. Let's start the music. Let's start playing some music. Let's get into some lineup builds. I'm gonna change screens, that way when I do timestamps, I'll be able to look at this and understand what I'm looking at. Okie doke. I will listen to, not play them. I'm back from Pool League and went 4-2, so I'm feeling sassy. Man, you're always feeling sassy. You've got the moodiness of a 13-year-old girl. Let me know if the music's too loud. It looks pretty loud on my my side. All right. So the first one was Ryan, I believe, yelling at me to put in Fitzpatrick, Shane Lowry, and Corey Connors, which, hey man, that sounds like a fantastic lineup. That sounds like a great start to a lineup. Shane O'Mac, where you at? And we know Corey is what, $6,900? Which is insane. Let's do something really quick. I think what I'm going to do is change all of these to 100% except for the 6K golfers. That way we can get some real, maybe not 100%. Let's tier it out. We'll go like 50 for most of these. Down to the 9K range. 33% for the 8K range. I think that sounds good. And then 25% for the 7K range. That should make lineup building a little easier. And then we get to be different. All right, 5 lineups for Mr. Ryan Henson. Here we go. Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, Shane Lowry, Cootie, Gerard, Corey Connors. What a lineup. You know, we're not even like 2 seconds into building lineups and we get one of these already. It's a sexy lineup. That's why we're playing it. That is a sexy lineup. We'll save that one. Build another. We get Fitzpatrick, Bobby Mack, Kurt Kitayama, Shane Lowry, Bridgman, and Corey Connors. That one's not terrible either. I don't know what the ownership would be on that one, but it looks good. Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, Lowry, JT Connors, and Michael Thorbjornsen. I think you get one of these yet again, dude. You get one of these yet again. It's a great lineup, dude. It's a great lineup. Then we get Fitzpatrick, Bobby Mack, Ben Griffin, Shane Lowry, Keegan Bradley, which Byron and me, we like Keegan this week quite a bit. And then Corey Connors. That might be collectively, but between everything that Byron has said, everything I've said, this is a hell of a lineup. This is a great lineup. You're not getting a sexy button from me. That just seems like a really good cash game lineup. It just seems good. Hey, if you need a winner take all lineup, that was the one right there. That was the one. And then we get Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, Lowry, Cootie, Gerard, and Corey Connors. This is another. It's a 10-9-8, 7-7-6. This is a really good lineup. It's a really good lineup. Those were fantastic lineups. Whoa, 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 whoa. I already created this lineup. I got a duplicate. That's why. That's why I like this lineup a lot. And I think I must have played a song for it already. Had to have, right? Okay. Well, we got to kick somebody out, and I think it's going to be Pearson Cootie. Byron goes, we liking JT? I don't mind JT. If I'm building 100 lineups, I'm going to play them in somewhere between 7 to 10. 7% to 10%. I need to see more. The one thing that makes me feel like it might be worth it to play Justin Thomas is the fact that I think Rory said it. He's like, they asked him Sunday during TGL, isn't it nice to see Justin Thomas back out playing? And Rory goes, I don't mind seeing him here, but I certainly don't want to see him at the API. I don't want to see him at Arnold Palmer. So I don't know if that means that he's been watching Justin Thomas hit some really good shots, but you know, tournament golf is something you don't just like get into from being hurt like quickly. But we'll see. Him and Sungjae, I'd be really interested to see if those guys actually come back and play well. This is a new lineup, but it could be a dupe. It is not a duplicate. So we get Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, Shane Lowry, Bridgman, Gerard, and Corey Connors. Okay. All right, Mr. Henson, those were your 5 lineups, sir. Those were pretty good. Pretty tasty. Alrighty. We go to AJ. AJ wants Bridgman and Cootie. Well, we were just building some Bridgman Cootie lineups. The Bridgman and Pearson Cootie. Chronic Nebula goes, man, I wish Brooks was in the field. Seems like a good tournament that he'd play. We get a pretty balanced lineup for the first one. AJ. We get Siwoo Kim, Bobby Mack, Ben Griffin, Bridgman, Justin Thomas, and Pearson Cootie. Pretty good. Speaking of Justin Thomas, let's go ahead and kick him out because that's a lot of lineup so far. Fleetwood, McIntyre, Fowler, Bridgman, Cootie, JJ Spawn. Well, one lineup with JJ in it, that's fine. Shoffley. So we get Xander, then Henley, Fowler, Bridgman, Cootie, Keith Mitchell. I don't hate it. Fleetwood, Shoffley, Burns, Bridgman, Pearson Cootie, and Austin Smotherman. Okay. I'm going to bring back Corey Connors. I'm not really bringing him back, but I'm allowing the optimizer to select him if possible. Doesn't. We get the Assassin, Rio. Hadouken! Assassinate. Xander, Bobby Mack, Jake Knapp. First Jake Knapp spotting, it looks like. Yeah, it's the first Jake Knapp spotting. Jacob Bridgman, Pearson Cootie, and Rio Assassinate. Okay. So there were 10 or 5 lineups there. We'll clear everything out. Now, Fitz, Lowry, Connors. Oh, seems like a solid core. Maybe I'll build that one for you later, Z-Chronic. I'm loud and proud of my lineups, and I got to win my winner take all. And I got to win my winner take all. Okay, all right. Lombardi Lee. He wants Jake Knapp, Tommy Fleetwood, and Ricky Fowler. Jake Knapp, Tommy Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler. Okay. Ricky Fowler. Not many people really would be anchoring around Ricky Fowler, but I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it. All right, 5 lineups for you, sir. I'll play Brooks at the Players. Fleetwood, Knapp, Burns, Fowler, Justin Thomas, and Ryan Gerard. N and 3 8K golfers. Again, we're going to limit our Justin Thomas exposure. Actually, let's go ahead and just put... Well, I want everyone to get at least one opportunity to play a Justin Thomas lineup, but anyways. Okay. I'm not sure how I feel about... Never mind. Fleetwood, Matsuyama, Knapp, Fowler, JJ Spawn, and Ryan Fox. Not terrible. Fleetwood, Matsuyama, Jake Knapp, Fowler, Sam Stevens, and then Danny Berger. Don't hate that lineup. I'm going to kick out Matsuyama, though. Ooh, I like this lineup a lot. Fleetwood, Knapp, Goddard, Fowler, Adam Scott, and Max Grazerman. The Grease Trap. One last one. Fleetwood, Knapp, Goddard, Fowler, Scott, Thigala. You know what? You're getting one of these for that lineup. This is a solid lineup. I like this one a lot. I need to... If I click that button again, it just replays it. Where all my other buttons, if you click it again, it stops. So I need to reprogram that one. Anyways, great lineup. I like that lineup a lot. That is a solid lineup. Solid. Those are the only ones I really remember off the top of my head. Okay. That was Lombardi Lee. We get Corey Graves, a new minted channel member, Corey Graves. Hootie and Fleetwood. I don't know if this is group speak, but I think we've had... And by the way, these are your lineups, so you definitely play your golfers. But Fleetwood and Cootie, how many Fleetwood Cootie lineups do I have? Maybe this is just in my head. I guess none up here. Never mind. So I figured we were going to see some here, but none. Fleetwood, there's a Fleetwood Cootie lineup there with Xander. No Fleetwood Cootie there. Okay, it's all in my head. Oh, there's another Fleetwood Cootie right there. Okay. JJ Spawn is in that one. Austin Smotherman is in this one. They all had Jacob Bridgman in it. And then we don't have to worry about that. Okay. Okay. I just want to build unique lineups. I don't want to, have the same ones. I'm Foxy this week. Okay. I'm Wolfie this week, I guess. I don't know what the hell that means. Fleetwood, Matt Fitzpatrick, Burns, Cootie, Ryan Gerard, and Harry Hall. Harry Hall's name I've not heard Harry Hall being spoken about in any podcast whatsoever. Sure. Why not, man? This is how you're different. You're going to get a 2% Harry Hall. Fleetwood, McIntyre, Lowry, Justin Thomas, Pearson, Cootie, and Ryan Gerard. That is very similar to other lineups that we've built. I wonder if this will be a dupe. It is not. Okay. Very similar to other lineups we've built. I'm going to kick out Justin Thomas, by the way, just so we don't see him again. Fleetwood, Bobby Mack, Goddard, Burns, Cootie, and Grazerman. I like that lineup a lot. Fleetwood, McIntyre, Goddard. Okay, well, if you want a different variation of that lineup that I just built, here it is. It's with Patrick Rogers. Do you like Bobby Mack, Corey Graves? I'm kicking him out. I feel like he's going to be selected a lot. I mean, he already has been. A new lineup. We get Fleetwood, Matsuyama, Goddard, Burns, Cootie, and Novak. I think that one's fine. First Novak love for a lineup there. And then a 10, 3/8, and 2 6s. Fleetwood, Goddard, Lowry, Burns, Pearson, Cootie, and Nick Taylor. Don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Not this week on Bobby. Okay, good. Then I kicked him out when I needed to, right? Well, we gave you 2. I gave you 2. Maybe I will kick one out. Since those 2 lineups are very similar, let's get you a different one without Bobby Mack. So this one is not a Bobby Mack lineup. And we get Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, English, Cootie, Fox, and the Assassin. Hadouken! Rio Hisatsune. All right. That one's not bad. Not bad. We'll put that one right there. Okadoke. We'll remove these. Those were 5 lineups for you, Corey. Hopefully you liked them. Pause the video at any point in time. Take a screenshot. That way you can have them yourself. That's it. You know what? Z Chronic, I'll do this for you this week. We didn't have many people come in here and provide lineups, which is sad, but it is what it is. Fitz, Lowry, and Connors. Fitz, Lowry, and Connors. We kind of already did this, didn't we? Didn't we already do this lineup somewhat? I mean, we got Corey Connors down here. Tommy and Fitz. Wait. Oh, we already did. And that's why you said seems like a good core. Yeah, this is Ryan Henson's. I got it. All right, well, you know what? What I want to do. That says not mine. Yep, I figured it out. 10-second delay between you and I figured it out in the 10 seconds it took for you to message me. Or for the message to get to you and then you to message me. All right, I'm going to take what the bucket system told us. It is either Shane Lowry or Jake Knapp. It is either those 2 guys. And then, see, I don't even know how I can do this. I think what we saw with the Marquee Tee Times, it was Xander and who? Xander and Knapp. Or it's Fitzpatrick and Lowry. So Fitzpatrick Lowry, that was Mr. Henson. So now we do the opposite. We do Xander Knapp. I'm gonna build 5 Xander Knapp lineups for you guys. Just see what that looks like. We get Xander, Bobby Mack, Knapp, JT, Jordan Spieth, Ryan Gerard. Interesting. I'm bringing back Jordo. We'll kick out JT though. I really don't want that much JT. Put that down to 7%. Let's bring back Jordo. And I really don't want that much Bobby Mack. But that seems, if there was a Magic Beans lineup, this might be it. Except for Ryan Gerard. He's not Magic Bean. Xander, Cam Young, Knapp, Goddard, Harry Hall, and Corey Connors. Oh my God. That is so close. I do not want Harry Hall though. That is so close. So close to being perfect. Well, this one's fine. 3 8Ks. I get Xander, Ben Griffin, Knapp, Goddard, Jordan Spieth, and Corey Connors. Sure. Let's kick out Goddard. See what else we get. Xander, Ben Griffin. All right, here's a whole different type of lineup. Xander, Ben Griffin, Jake Knapp, Ricky Fowler, Straka, and Michael Thorbjornsen. Redemption lineup for Thorbjornsen for missing the cut last week. I mean, redemption with me. I'm going to kick out Ben Griffin. I don't want to bring back Goddard, but not just yet. Not just yet. Xander, Knapp, Kitayama, Rose, Adam Scott. I like that. And then Jordan Spieth. There's one other thing that I need to look at. And when it comes to the cheat sheet, we are looking at our 8K golfers. It's between Ludwig or Sam Burns. Oh, that's right. That is right. Okay. I want what I have, Xander and Knapp, but I think I put in Sam Burns. And then maybe I do Ludwig afterwards. Caleb Stafford, what's going on, man? Just joined live. I'm going to Bay Hill on Sunday, so this live looks interesting. But I have no idea what's going on. Can anyone clue me in? Caleb, we are... This is a daily fantasy sports show talking about golf. So DFS golf or PGA DFS, whatever you want to call it. And basically just creating strategies as to what lineups are going to provide us the most success on DraftKings, because that's primarily what I look at. But you can take this information and apply it to FanDuel. It's just a bit more challenging, but you could if you wanted to. But yeah, it's also just talking about golf whenever. If you guys have questions about golf, I'm pretty knowledgeable when it comes to it. So really up to you guys. But yeah, welcome on in, Caleb. Nice to see you. I have a lineup here that looks good minus Kurt Kitayama, but if you think Kurt Kitayama is going to do well, this one actually works out pretty decently. I'm going to bring back Keegan Bradley. I am a believer with, oh my God, look at this lineup. I was gonna say I'm a believer with Byron on this. Logan, is this a lineup that you'd be down to play? Xander Schauffele, well, maybe not Hideki, but Xander Schauffele, Hideki, Jake Knapp, Sam Burns, Jordan Spieth, Sung J M. Holy crap. I can't think of a more volatile lineup. Maybe putting Justin Thomas in there would be very volatile. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do this lineup. I also don't want Matsuyama. Pick him out. Let's bring back Sung Jae. I want the opportunity to play Sung Jae again. And we get Danny Berger. So this one's Schauffele, Henley, Knapp, Burns, Højgaard, and Danny Berger. Sure. We'll save that one. And then let me do one more with Burns, and then I'm going to switch it to Oberg. Pendrith, haven't seen Pendrith in forever. Pendrith with Ryan Gerard, I think that's fine to go with the rest of those guys. It's a lot of Gerard. I don't know if I can get back to playing Gerard. I don't know if I could play it back. I don't know if I could. Here's a lineup. Schauffele, Knapp, Hovland, Burns, Bradley, Spieth. That's a lineup. Wow. I'm going to kick him out. I'm going to kick out Hovland. What else can we do with this lineup? Mav McNeely, Xander Schauffele, Knapp, Burns, Fowler, McNeely, and Keegan Bradley. Super interesting. Now, this is a lineup I would not do. I'm not putting Oberg and Burns together, so this one kind of just gets disqualified. I wanted to see if it would happen, and sure enough, it did. Now we're forcing the optimizer to do different things. I don't want JJ Spawn, but that's an interesting lineup. As is this. Xander, Russell Henley, Knapp, Burns, Spieth, and Smotherman. Okay. Xander, Henley, Knapp, Burns, Spieth, Sungjae Im. There you go. There you go. That's the. I feel like that's the magical lineup. We're gonna go ahead and paint it red. Paint it red for volatility. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of Xander this week, so I don't really care. You know, like the reason we talked about Xander was because he's in a lineup with Shane Lowry. And it's like, well, if we're not going to play Shane Lowry, then we could play Xander. I don't really care. It's between Jake Knapp or Shane Lowry, in my opinion, when it comes to the 8K range. And I'm just going to go ahead and put in Jake Knapp. I'll put Jake Knapp and Sam Burns and just see what it pulls out. We get a Rory lineup. I don't want Ricky Fowler. I really don't. gonna bring back some of these guys. I mean, Ricky Fowler's fine. If I'm being honest with you guys, Ricky Fowler, that's fine. I just, yeah, I don't know. Not my cup of tea right there. Looks like he lost weight when I saw him warming up this week. Okay. McIlroy, Knapp, Lowry, Burns, Sam Stevens, and Austin Smotherman. That seems like a pretty decent lineup. McIlroy, Knapp, Lowry, Burns. Oh, whoa. We can't do that. The optimizer doesn't know we can't put those guys together. And it's not supposed to know that, by the way. That's a us thing. I'll bring back Goddard. I think Goddard is a talent. He's talented enough to do just fine. And there we go. We get Goddard in this lineup, and I think this lineup's fine. It's pretty fire, actually. McIlroy, Knapp, Goddard, Burns, Spieth, and Novak. Let's see what a Scotty Scheffler lineup looks like with these golfers. We get Scheffler, Knapp, Burns. So, well, we kind of already know we can't build this lineup, right? We kind of already know that. But I don't mind Colley and Horschel. I really don't mind Horschel this week. But we can't put two AK golfers with Scotty Scheffler. Just not gonna, it's really not gonna work out. Or I shouldn't say it's not going to, it's got a low likelihood of working out. All right, so, if I were to say I don't care about the Shane Lowry, Jake Knapp thing, I would want to do Scotty with Sam Burns for my boy Shot Like Harden. Bridgman, Sam Stevens, Corey Connors, Bud Colley. That seems all right. This one is really close. Oh, I really don't want Taylor Moore. I don't care for Taylor Moore. No, thank you. Get him out of here. And I'm also, I am and I'm not a fan of Jacob Bridgman. Wow. Scheffler, Goddard, Burns, Nikolai Højgaard, Michael Kim, and Lucas Glover. Ugh. I'm not doing Johnny Vegas. Not doing Brian Harmon. Andrew Putnam I like, but I'm not doing Matt McCarty. Sung Jae and Billy Horschel. Okay, those are two Bermuda guys. Don't mind that. With Sam Stevens, and then I get Goddard and Burns. Interesting. It's no reason that it's really selecting Goddard, but it is. Ricky is a cash play top 20 bet. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Man. I probably need to start with Scotty lineups just so the ownership that's against the exposures isn't really being thrown off by much. There was something we talked about with Spieth, right? What was Spieth? Spieth was in a bucket that just seemed like oh, what was it? Was it like just a course history bucket? I'm not sure. One thing I do want to look at, instead of the 8K, I want to look at 10 and 9 with course history 1. And it's a Scheffler and Rory. Okay, so yeah, I think. Oh man, I really like starting my lineups with Rory this week, just because it's easier. I can do the Jake Knapp or Shane Lowry thing without any issues. And I could do Lowry Fitzpatrick to go with Rory. That is very doable. I also have Pearson Cootie I could play down here. That's fine. Oh my God. What was the... It was like... What? It was... Jordan Spieth. Okay, so he's a strokes gained 1 golfer. He's a course history 1. That's what it was. Looking at all the course history 1 golfers. Yeah, it was that with recent form. That's what it was. It was just him alone. Him alone with random dudes. Course history 1s. That's what it was. Whoa. Blank. Interesting. That looks like that is a typo. What did I put course history, I put in salary 1 and 2, and then I did course history 1. Oh. I found myself a bug. Found myself an error. Need to fix that. Okay. But course history 1s is what I was looking at. It's just anytime I hit a filter. Got it. Understood. Understood. He's the only dude down here, 7,400, with a recent form of not as a 1. Okay. Doesn't really mean anything, honestly. It's a separator, let's put it that way. I guess it doesn't really matter. All right, I don't want Goddard up. I just want a 10 and an 8 and then go on from there, sir. Yeah, let's see what happens. It breaks on us. Why? Cootie is over. Let's okay, Cootie should probably get brought in. Yes, but not for Joel Damon and Michael Kim. I don't want Chris Kirk. I don't want Michael Kim. I don't want Brian Harmon. Tom Hoagie. Okay. This lineup here is fine. I think. Let me change this to 10% on down and see what else I can get. Like Sahith would be good to put in a lineup like this. And let's bring back Putnam. I bet you Putnam will be brought in here. I don't mind Bud is this too big of a, yeah, it's too big of a golf course, but Bud Colley. I don't want any of those guys. I don't want any of the Aldrich. Why is Aldrich not being selected? Let's throw him in the lineup. And it breaks. Okay. Okay. Rose. Scheffler, Burns, Scott, Cootie, Smotherman, and Novak. Yeah, that's a lineup I could get behind. 10, 8, 2 7s, 2 6s. These, yeah, these Scheffler lineups kind of suck. I'm not gonna lie. That one's fine. Let's see what another one looks like. Thorbjornsson and Novak. Yeah, I figured as much. I don't care to try to jam in Thorbjornsson. I'd love to jam in Corey Connors. We get the Assassin on this one with Keegan Bradley. It seems very restricted of what we can do. Very restricted. Let's try it again. Scheffler, Burns, Cootie, Bradley, Rogers, and Novak. Okay, Rogers gets kicked. I want to see. I do, and then it breaks. Oh, brother. Oh, my God. Scheffler lineups. Just trying to follow the... I'm not even following the nap thing. I'm just doing Burns. This is sad. What's the best lineup I can build with Burns and Scheffler? Cootie, Gerard, Stevens, and Novak. Don't really care for Novak. Or Rogers. Or Taylor Moore. Or Damon. Bud is fine, but I also don't care for Keith Mitchell and Harry Hall. Oh my God. And remember, I'm like very generous with the projections. So the fact that this is just like... The lineups suck. Holy crap. I don't mind having Rio on my team, but I don't want... Come on, man. Like, Ryan Fox is rated higher than Rio Satsune, but yet the optimizer's like, let's do Rio instead. Okay, there we go. Well, I don't want Kurt Kitayama. Oh, I already did this earlier, didn't I? I already went through all these lineups. Smotherman with Ryan Fox. There's Justin Thomas in there. Oh my God. Why? Okay, well, let's put it a different way. Let me spin this a different way. I'm forcing in Sam Burns. I'm obviously not creating any good lineups with Sam Burns and Scotty Scheffler. I want to, but it's just not happening. And obviously that's relative to me. I don't think I'm building good lineups. Maybe you guys like them, and that's fine. Jesus Christ, dude. Seriously. Like, I don't want to have to babysit this the entire time. I don't mind Putnam, but I don't want Thorbjornsen. I don't want Glover. Don't care for Kirk or McCarty. Don't care for Vegas. Don't care for Harmon. Don't care for Kim. Hoagie's fine, but I also, I'm not playing Daniel Berger optimizer. Good Lord. I'm going to go ahead and bring back one of these guys. Who was it? Hoagie? Sure. Sheesh. I'm trying to find the sweet spot. Like, a lot of times when we go through this, like, I don't know what you want to call this. This is struggle. Whenever we go through a struggle, we tend to find the sweet spot sometime after. And it's not going to be with JJ Spawn. I feel like I'm going to need Putnam, honestly. The 6K range is pretty bad. Well, let's force the issue here. Do we like Poston? No, not really. Fox, Grazerman, yeah. Sahith, yeah. Penrith, sure. That's all good right there. Hoagie, sure. We'll bring back Putnam. Okay, I kicked out pretty much all the golfers I don't want. Well, I don't want Brian Campbell. I also don't want this Daniel Bennett. Okay, the rest of these guys are fine. So this lineup here to me is fine. Scheffler, Goddard, Burns, Stevens, McCarthy, that's fine. Part of me also just does not want to have two 8K golfers in a lineup. And then it breaks. Scheffler Burns is not a super great combo. I don't even know if I can do Scheffler Knapp. Oh, I can. Because 10, 8, 7, 3 6s. I can do Knapp. I cannot do Burns. That's interesting. I imagine Lowry is actually the choice here because he's $8,100. So I'm gonna bring back Putnam. We can bring back Hoagie. Do I bring back Novak? I don't even know if I want to. I really do want to put Pot Geeter in my lineups. Let's see if this works. It does. And it's a solid lineup, finally. Scheffler, Lowry, Keegan, Sam Stevens, Ryan Fox, and Aldrich. Okay. Can I do something with Knapp, maybe? I can. It's the same lineup with Knapp. Oh yeah, absolutely. There you go. I've got my Scheffler with either Jake Knapp and Lowry, and then I get Aldrich in here. One is with Putnam, one's with Ryan Fox, and then the other ones have Keegan Bradley and Sam Stevens. I think those are solid lineups, to be honest with you. I've been kind of beating the drum here, trying to get these lineups to work, and I got them to work. Okay. What do you think of a Rory Maury, Nick Taylor for lineup builds? Rory Maury, huh? I'll give you an A+ for effort when it comes to lineup or a nickname. Rory Maury, Nick Taylor. Rory, Morikawa, Adam Scott, Cootie, Nick Taylor, Andrew Novak. Sure. Rory, Morikawa, Cootie, Taylor, Gerard. Why the man? The optimizer loves Ryan Gerard. There we go. This one's solid minus. I don't really care for Justin Thomas, but yet Rory, Morikawa, Thomas, Taylor, Højgaard, and Fox. We'll kick out Justin Thomas. Rory, Morikawa, Cootie, Taylor, Harry Hall. Don't care for Harry Hall. Don't care for Danny Berger. Worried about Fox's accuracy off the tee? Yeah, somewhat, but His misses to the right, and you can miss to the right on this golf course. Better than Scotty's miss to the left. Michael Thorbjornsen, I don't... Okay, this is where the optimizer is going to be proving me wrong this week. I don't care for Thorbjornsen, but the optimizer does. I don't care for Keith Mitchell either. These are the golfers that will burn me. I already know. Thorbjornsen or Mitchell will burn me. All right, dude. I mean, I don't know which lineups you like out of any of these. I'm personally not liking most of them, but if you are cool with them, I mean, we get Jake Knapp here. Do you like Michael Kim? Because that works out. This is a pretty good lineup. 3 Canadians. Morikawa, McIlroy, Hootie, Taylor, Connors, and Pendrith. Solid. Okay. I'll actually say that lineup. Sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen. 3 minutes left. 3 minutes. I'm going to put the timer up. Give me your questions, your last little bits, and I will provide you all the answers I can. But I am out of here when that says time up. Who is better in the model, Fox or Thigala? Good question. Let's go by salaries. Thigala is 49th in my model, and Fox is 24th. You did make me realize. Let's do this. I'm going to put all my 6K golfers that I actually like. Let's do Thigala, Potgieter. And I don't know if I need to drop any lower. I do like Putnam, so I do want to play Putnam. I want to put those two guys with Scotty. What does this do for me? JT is the #1 guy. I don't care. Let's not do Justin Thomas. Scott, Cootie, and I don't care for Gerard. You know what? What I should do... Wow, thanks. That's a big difference. Yeah. It was. Byron, thank you, man. I didn't even know you were still in the stream. I felt like asking you a question, but I didn't think you were here. And I don't remember the question now. How many likes did we get up to? 16. Okay. AJ says thank you, or see you all tomorrow. Yeah, of course, man. We'll see you tomorrow. If you had to play 3 6K guys, how would you fill in that lineup? 2 high 6Ks and 1 low 6K. That's how I do it. It doesn't really answer your question, but it would look something like this. It would have Thigala and Potgieter in it. You know what? It would have maybe the 3 high 6Ks. And maybe that's... I'm not allowing the optimizer to do that. Let's do something like this. See if this works out. I've been catching up with all my Discord and listening in the background. It's been a week. No worries, man. No worries. I don't want Spawn, but that's a really close lineup. I bet you Sam Stevens rounds that lineup out. And it'll have Jake Knapp in there naturally. Let's see it. Nope, he got kicked out, but Sam Stevens is there. Got kicked out by Goddard. Give me Jake. Give me Jake Knapp. Do it. Nick Taylor or Kurt Kitayama? I do not want Kurt Kitayama. I do not want Nick Taylor. And what I mean by that is just in this lineup. And it breaks. So I can't do that with Scotty. That's sad. Scotty's just not looking like a lineup. Like with the buckets and everything, it's just not lining up. Which makes life kind of easy for me. Because I don't have to force in Scotty Scheffler. Feel like there's a lot of easy mode items this week of building lineups, and Scotty doesn't provide any easy mode lineups at all. Period. Straight up period. Which is gonna suck when he wins. It's gonna be like, well, what kind of lineup could you build with Scotty? I don't know. The 8K range just reigns supreme at this event. It reigns supreme. There are so many 8K golfers. Well, not so many. There's 11, which is one more than usual. I'm landing on a lot of high sixes in my builds. Yeah, and I just don't care to put 3 6K golfers in my lineup. I'll cover more of the 6K range tomorrow. But time is up. It's been up for a little bit. I'll give you guys a little, whatever. Because I like you all. That's why. But I'm getting out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you all Oh, Byron, I remember what I was going to tell you. You still here? Byron Linda Q. Byron. Jesus. Okay. See, how well does this show up? Not well at all. Oh, close. But it's reversed. Never mind. I'll send it to you through Discord. I had a golf. I went to fit myself for a driver and had my club head speed up to 120 with my ball speed at 180, carried at 314, and it rolled out, which you don't really consider those things. Not a big deal. All right, ladies and germs. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.